Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us for the Committee of the Whole of Fernie City Council starting at 6:30 p.m. on December 17th, 2024. And given the number of people that are gathered in the room, it behooves me to point out the emergency exits. So there is an emergency exit, of course, that you came in, and there's an emergency exit here and a door at the back. There's actually two doors at the back, one through there, so we don't trample each other in the event of emergency. Kisuk Yukit, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that the city of Fernie is located within Kukanamakas, the unceded territory of Yakutat Nucleat First Nation. We recognize we live and work in their vast lands. The Kanahunik are from Yakutat Nucleat and are members of the Tanaha-speaking peoples of British Columbia, Idaho, and Montana. And while we have a very busy agenda, before I convene the meeting, I did want to send our condolences as a sister resort municipality community and joint member of the Resort Community Collaborative. We send our heartfelt condolences to the residents of Sun Peak, their municipal staff and the family and friends of Mayor Al Rain, who passed away December 15th, surrounded by his wife, Nancy Green Rain, and his family. A dedicated community advocate to the end, and Al will be sorely missed and will be fondly remembered. And I would encourage everyone, if you have a moment, go to the Sun Peaks website. And Al posted a message to his community shortly before his death. It's quite a beautiful memento. So thank you. I'll now call the meeting to order, and I'll begin on a more joyous note with item 2.1, the 2024 George S. Magic Spiritus Award. The George S. Magic Spiritus Award is presented annually by the City of Fernie in memory of Mr. George Magic to a person or persons who for many years have demonstrated a commitment to the community through their love of Fernie. And it gives me a great deal of pleasure this evening to present the George S. Magic Spiritus Award to Mr. Bruce Elson. Just so folks are aware, we did have a little reception for Bruce earlier, and so that's the second time he's received the award. For anyone who's attended any community event in this town of Fernie, if they don't know Bruce, they've seen Bruce. He's a volunteer extraordinaire. So we're very, very grateful to present the award to him this evening. Thank you, Bruce. So I'll now ask for a mover and a seconder for the following staff recommendation: that the December 17th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting agenda be adopted as amended. Moved by Councillor Audie Kelly, seconded by Councillor Nixon. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. I'll now ask for a mover and a seconder for this staff recommendation: that the minutes of the November 19th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting that the minutes of the November 19th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Audie Kelly, seconded by Councillor Hamilton. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. I'll now invite the members of the public in attendance or participating electronically who wish to comment on items listed on the meeting agenda in accordance with section 3.7.3 of the procedure bylaw to address council, except speakers must not address council regarding a matter for which a public hearing must be held or has been held pursuant to the Local Government Act prior to council's consideration of the matter or adoption of the bylaw. Speakers must not address council regarding a permit for which public notice must be given or has been given pursuant to the Local Government Act prior to councillors' consideration of issuance of the permit. And a speaker may only address council for a maximum of 3 minutes. And before I invite the first speaker, I did want to ask, I've checked with Lavinia, we have a number, sorry, our corporate officer. We have a number of speakers, so I'd look for a mover or seconder for the following resolution, that the public input period be extended beyond 15 minutes to allow all participants who wish to speak an opportunity to speak for their 3 minutes. Moved by Councillor Shoesmith, seconded by Councillor Hamilton. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? And just one more piece of business. I fully appreciate this is an emotional issue. I'm going to ask everybody, please, no cheering, no jeering, no clapping. We want this to be a safe space that respects everybody's opinion on this matter. And so if you can be supportive of everybody else in your community, please, please don't be disruptive, and we'll get through this in an orderly fashion. So thank you for that. And with that, I'll turn to Ms. McAwee, and can you invite the first speaker? Oh, do you have the list? Ah, our corporate officer has the list. Switcho, change-o.
First on the list is Sharon Quayle.
Thank you, Ms. Quayle. And if you can identify yourself at the microphone and your civic address, please.
Hi, my name's Sharon Quayle. My address is 204 40 Ridgemont Avenue, Fernie, British Columbia, Victor 0 Bravo 1 Mother 2. I'd just like to reiterate, my brother and sister live in the Lower Mainland, and they are online watching as well. So I'm speaking on behalf of them. So this letter is from my brother. Dear Mayor Milligan and councillors, please accept this letter as my reminder to take into account the wishes of my father, Douglas Quayle, related to the property donated by him to the city of Fernie when making decisions about this property. My father's intention was for the donated lot to be retained by the city for civic purposes and not be owned or controlled by a corporate entity. He specifically wished for the lot to be used for public parking for the communal benefit of Fernie citizens and downtown merchants. He donated the lot in good faith with the agreement by the city that the lot used be for public parking, as evidenced by the restrictive covenant placed on title to ensure the situation. The donation reflected his strong belief in and contributions to the city. I continue to support his desire that the property be retained by the city and used as public parking for the benefit of the broad communities and merchants of Fernie, of which he was one for so many years. Yours truly, Bruce Quayle. This one, it comes from my sister, Sandra. It is with dismay that I've learned that the city of Fernie is entertaining a presentation to develop the above mentioned property that was gifted by my mom and dad, Doug and Wilda Quayle, for public parking for the businesses on Main Street, 2nd Avenue. I understand that the city is contemplating selling this to a private citizen to develop a private gym for a private school, not an amenity for the city at all. I am sure that most councillors are aware that of the 100+ year legacy of the Quayle family in Fernie and all that have been given back to the beloved community, with particular emphasis on the parking lot property. I would briefly like to summarize the history behind Mom and Dad's generosity. Point 1, in the early 1980s, there was a request by 2nd Avenue merchants through Councilman Roy Ursel to have the lot always available for public parking within the city, to be responsible for snow plowing in order for parking to be available to the public year round. The request by the merchants was to support the businesses on Main Street to use this lot, visitors, customers, and tourists to have street access. Number 2, Dad agreed 10 years later, near his retirement in July, which was 1993. He then gifted this property to the city for $1 with an agreed upon covenant placed on title that it always be retained for this use. Number 3, believe it or not, we paid for the sign on that lot. So just wanted to let everybody know. Number 4, in 2015, it was shared by then Mayor Mary, the background of why this was gifted to the lady the city as a lady from the church that mom and dad went to approach and ask them if there were the plans to put a private gym on the parking lot. Dad was aghast. He didn't even know this. Apparently the person who potentially was thinking about this asked Dad if he would sign a letter to agree this. My dad said no. He was never shown any plans. Mayor Mary made sure that council heard Dad's wishes, confirmed what legal agreement stated, and reaffirmed him that this lot would be always retained for public parking use. The businesses of Fernie deserve all the support that they need to be successful, and this was my dad's wish. It was the merchants that approached him years ago, and this is the only public parking lot to support the downtown. So please do not be short-sighted on this. There are many other locations for a private gym that would be more suitable and safe. This use would not generate any new businesses that would want to come to downtown to support our community. I respectfully ask the mayor, the councillors, that give their time and the citizens of Fernie to reflect on their moral compass, to do the right thing and to support what Dad gave to the city in good faith, that this lot remain to the public forever. It is the generosity of many special citizens of this city, both present and past, and their legacies that has made Fernie the special place it is today. Thank you, Sandra Colley, Nee Quayle. Now, I'd personally like to thank the residents and merchants for coming out to support my dad's legacy and in good faith. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Quayle.
Next is Wendy McDougall.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Wendy McDougall. I'm a resident of Fernie, living at 17 Mount Minton Street. I'm here today to express my support for the proposal put forward by the Fernie Academy to develop improved parking and a new gymnasium at lot 402 and 422 3rd Avenue. It's clear that this proposal has sparked considerable attention, and I want to take a moment to first acknowledge the Quayle family and their foresight and generosity in donating this land to the community in the first place. Their contribution reflects the growth potential and the strong sense of community that makes Fernie such a special place. This proposal isn't an oversight of the donation. It's about building upon it and enhancing the value of the space for the community. With our community growing and facing a shortage of recreational space, it seems short-sighted to reject an opportunity to enhance the amenities without relying on direct taxpayer funding. As I understand it, the lot will continue to serve as parking and improvements will be made to make it year-round accessible. The addition of a gymnasium and community gathering space in the heart of downtown is an invaluable opportunity. We've already seen the power of community in action, with the closure of the community center, and this project offers a similar opportunity for an independent organization to make a meaningful contribution to the quality of life for Fernie residents. The proposed facility will be used by the Academy primarily during school hours and days, with ample time for public booking in the off hours. Our community is in dire need of more recreational and gathering space that serves residents of all ages. I also believe it's important to highlight the positive impact the Fernie Academy has had on our community. While I may be biased as a parent of 2 students, I can speak to the school's inclusivity and their nature of community and excellence, respect, and learning. The Academy provides a valuable bursary program and makes it accessible to all, and its students are actively engaged in the community. Creating an additional space where these students and the wider community can come together for athletics, arts, and performance will create meaningful opportunity for connection and addressing the growth in our community. In conclusion, I look forward to tonight's presentation, and I hope Council will consider providing a letter of support in principle to help the project move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott Sinclair.
Thank you. My name is Scott Sinclair. I live at 1810 McLeod Avenue, West Fernie. I'm here today speaking in support of the TFA proposal. You've heard tonight already, And you will hear more, I'm sure, objections and concerns with respect to the proposal in front of you. Most of these concerns, it seems to me, are not organic, but rather they are centered, and they're not centered on the needs of the community, or the concerns rather seem to me to be very personal. How do I know? Well, I don't have to guess. All I have to do is look at the social media posts of many people opposed to this. One of them, for example, would be, I firmly believe Jocelyn's intentions are only for herself. That would be an example. Did you know that in the 11 years that this proposal has been in front of various councils, that not one member, not one representative of the Quayle family has met with the TFA to discuss concerns, objections, what the truth of the matter is, as opposed to the misrepresentations? That's not fair. Misinformation that's been sent here already today. There'll be no public parking. Of course there'll be public parking. The whole point is to maintain the public parking and to improve the public parking space. Oh, well, if there is public parking, it's going to be paid. It's not going to be paid. It'll be, the control of the parking will be retained by the city, and you'll do whatever you want to do with it. Oh, it's a gymnasium for one school. No, it's not. It's a community center, community space for the community that will also be shared by the children of Fernie. Oh, we can't do it. We can't do it. There's a restrictive covenant. There's a legal opinion that says exactly the opposite, albeit it might be old and it might need to be updated, but there is a legal opinion. This does not violate that restrictive covenant. This is a grudge, plain and simple, and we all know it. We can read it, we can see it, and the citizens of Fernie are the victims of that. It is incumbent on you, councillors, to move past that. Let's move past the emotion and focus on the substance. The population of this city has exploded. You continue to issue new construction permits, which is great, but it's bringing more people to the community. We don't have the budget. We don't have the infrastructure to support this population. You had to, properly so, by the way, abruptly close our community center. You should be congratulated for that difficult decision. That wasn't your fault, but the fact remains we have a growing population and reduced community space. And so you don't have the budget to fix that. You've proposed a 7.5% property tax hike next year. I don't know where that's sitting in council, but the fact of the matter is it's already difficult enough for people to afford to live in this city. I understand it, or it's been reported, you have a $50 million capital budget deficiency. And in that capital budget, there's not a lot of space for extra community events.
That is 3 minutes, Mr. Sinclair. Thank you.
That wasn't 3 minutes. That was less than 2 minutes.
It was.
I was timing. Okay, so you're cutting me off?
I'm afraid so.
I mean, Ms. Quayle had probably 5 minutes.
And I think that's appropriate in the circumstances. So thank you.
Okay.
Next is Kate Durham. And I apologize if I do pronounce anyone's name wrong.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Kate Durham and I live at 30 Park Avenue in Fernie, BC. I've sent in my letter of support, but also wanted to be here to share with you my overwhelming support for the building of the new facility on properties 402 and 422 3rd Avenue. This facility will have an incredible impact, especially after the closure of our community center. An improved parking lot and community space brings an opportunity to strengthen our community and provide a space to gather and recreate. Thank you for listening to everything said here today and supporting our community. I also have the next on the list to read for Denise Bond. Dear councilors, I am writing to express my Denise Bond, residing at 1262 11th Ave, Fernie, BC. Dear councilors, I am writing to express my support in the building of the new facility on the city-owned properties of 402 and 422 3rd Avenue. I'm in favor of the TFA Society project. This building and increased parking will be a huge asset to our community. Since the closure of the community center, a variety of user groups and important community events have been displaced. The proposed facility will be open for the public to rent and as such may help to provide new homes for many of these groups and community-minded activities. This facility will create more opportunities for user groups in the city. It would benefit the sports, arts, and youth groups. It would help to solve the issue of aging infrastructure. The current back parking lot is poorly maintained and hazardous to our citizens. Over the years, I have had my car stuck, have had to help numerous people get their car out of the parking lot, and have witnessed people, some of our elderly population, slip and fall due to its poor conditions. The proposed facility would provide a safer parking area for our downtown core, create walkways that are self-maintained. Wouldn't this also help to cut down on city workers' hours and increase the overall parking availability in the city center? The facility will be nothing but a benefit to our community, and I hope that council recognizes this and as such, votes in favor of allowing the TFA Society project to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Durham, and by extension, Ms. Bond.
Chris Inglis.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and citizens of Fernie. Chris Inglis, resident of Fernie, 55 years. Currently, I'm a small business owner, Fernie Corn Sales, 1151 First Avenue. It's pretty clear tonight here, Mayor and Council, you just got to do the right thing and make the right decision here. The land was given to the city by Mr. Quayle, who I knew very well, and the Quayle family. And, you know, to even think about suggesting that you're going to let another business build on that is just absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. You know, you have their family and what the family wishes. If you want to know what you should do with the property, and you're not sure, well, then talk to the family. That's where I think you should go with this. And this is a good crowd now to see, but you know, there's so many other places. You want to build a gymnasium, you want to build somewhere, what about the old condemned community center? Because I believe when the city does move forward with a new one, it's not going to be there. It's probably going to be by the pool. So why not look forward thinking and work out a deal with the Fernie Academy on that piece of property there? Why does it have to be where the public parking? You've already took a ballpark away from us, which I don't think is going to pass anyways. That's another day. But you're trying to take a ballpark away. Now you're trying to take downtown parking away. I don't think it's the right thing to do. Please follow what the direction of the family wants instead of what you think is best. Thank you.
Kirsten Johnson.
Hi, my name is Kirsten Johnson. I am from 1249 Valley View Drive, Sparwood, but I'm a former student of the Fernie Academy. So my name is Kirsten Johnson, and I graduated from the Fernie Academy in 2021. I started at the school in the 5th grade, 2013, and witnessed the challenges that students and staff faced with the current parking lot and lack of gymnasium facilities. I express enthusiastic support for the proposed parking lot and gymnasium project. The initiative addresses critical safety and accessibility concerns while offering much needed resources for the school and broader community. The existing parking lot is outdated, hazardous, and inefficient, posing significant challenges for everyone who uses it. For the safety hazards, the lot is impossible to plow effectively, and large potholes create dangerous conditions for wheels and pedestrians, especially in icy weather. Several spaces would end up obstructed by the one-story pile of snow in the winter. This pile serves as an inevitable disaster for thrill-seeking children who decide to climb up it and slide straight onto 3rd Avenue. I recall many kids being scolded for climbing up the mound upon dismissal. But do you blame them? It looks kind of fun. As someone who used that lot as a student, I can attest to how nerve-wracking it is to navigate, especially as a new driver. It relies on drivers to have common sense, which appears to get lost at the curb. The lack of clear parking organization often leads to cars getting boxed in or sandwiched between rows of vehicles. As a student who commuted from Sparwood, I started using the parking lot once I was of age to drive. My parents would often request that I park blocks away from the school to avoid a risk of damaging their vehicles. Once I got more comfortable parking, I opted to park in the parking lot, but I had to be strategic to park on the far edge, but not at the end of the road to avoid someone coming along and scratching my car. The lot requires a complete overhaul from repaving to restructuring. Rather than simply patching up the failing system, that this proposal presents an opportunity to improve by incorporating public parking into the modern facility. While I understand the desire to honor Doug Quayle's wishes for this property to remain public parking, the current state of the lot is no longer meets community needs. This project not only upholds the original intent, but enhances it. A gymnasium would bring significant value to TFA students and the entire community. I want to share a little bit about my journey at the academy. I started playing volleyball in the 5th grade. The team we formed was the team of girls I played throughout school and club seasons. In the 7th grade, I was held back a grade, being held back was a challenging path, but necessary to succeed. The most challenging aspect was the social part, but I got to keep playing volleyball with my same team. Being able to play volleyball with those girls, despite being held back in academics, kept me going.
Sorry, Ms. Johnson, that's your 3 minutes.
Okay, I sent the rest of it to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Joe Washarski.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, staff, members of the public.
Sorry, Mr. Wachowski, can you move over to the microphone so that
Oh.
people can hear you online?
All right,
Thank
sorry
you.
about that.
And if you can give us your civic address as well, please.
My name is Joe Warshawski, 1122 9th Avenue. We, the authors of this letter, were members of the Fernie City Council during the years 1993 to 96. Our names are Joe Warshawski, Doug Oliver, Dave O'Hare, Russ Waswick, Kevin Mitchell. Unfortunately, we have lost Councillor Gail Taylor and His Worship Dick Mulholland. We all remember when Mr. Quayle gifted the city of Fernie this property for the sole purpose to be used for public parking. The covenant was intended to secure that the property be used as public parking perpetuity for the people of Fernie. We also remember that both lots, Mr. Quayle's lot and the lot south behind the brick house, are owned by the city and were supposed to be paved and maintained by the city of Fernie. If the city wants to release the lot for sale, then the Quayle family has the first right of refusal. We all know and are aware of the Quayle covenant letter and that it still exists today. This isn't the first time that we spoke out against items that were put in place by the city of Fernie and that we felt were an infringement to the citizens of Fernie. Unfortunately, lots of documents have been shredded and lost, whether that was by accident or on purpose. When we were on council, we operated under a different act than now what the current councilors are governed. At that time, we were all in charge of all the employees of the city of Fernie. The present council only has leverage over the CAO, the sole employee. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Warshawski.
Kim Lancaster.
Hi, Council. My name is Kim Lancaster. I live at 22 Richmond Avenue, Fernie, BC. I was born and raised here, and I am aghast that we're even here thinking of this. The school, private school, is a private school. Why is the city giving them the bonus of it? That land was deemed for parking for the residents of Fernie. If the city had maintained that parking lot like they were supposed to, there would be no issues with potholes and people getting stuck. Do you think putting a community center there is going to help parking any easier than what this young lady has said is going to happen? I am aghast that what happens if the Sombrowskis go to sell that building and that lot? Who is responsible? We lose another field for the citizens of Fernie. You guys here have taken away a ball field, hopefully not, but you pulled a ball field out that we had planned for a fire hall across from 902, but that has not come true. You're now talking about taking away a parking area for downtown citizens, business people, and restaurants. I just don't understand. I guarantee 3 of our councillors will vote for this. But for the rest of you, please, and Mayor, please think of the Fernie residents and maintain that parking lot. Doug did us a very, very good deed by doing that for the residents for parking, because he knew how valuable the parking is. And for the snowbank that the young lady said that the kids climb on, then they need to take away from the college, from the banks that the kids climb on. Because not just at that parking lot, other kids climb in the college parking lots and play on those big snowbanks. I please would hope the council have respect for the values of the Fernie residents and not plead into the private school. It is such as a private school. They can build on another piece of property. They can afford to build this community center. They can afford to build a school and another community, their own gym. I just don't understand how this can even be going through. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lancaster.
Laura Rader.
Good evening. I'm Laura Rader from 522 10th Avenue. Grew up in the Elk Valley back in the same times we're talking about here, and we didn't have the same opportunities our children have today. We're really very blessed to have so many choices for our kids. One point of clarification, TFA is not a private school, it's an independent school. It opens the doors to anybody regardless of their economic status and ability to be there. And I think that's important to note. This is not about money, it's about community. And I can see that that is the case for everybody here, regardless of which side they're sitting on. My understanding is the proposal maintains the parking. Should that be the case, it maintains the spirit of what it was intended to be, and in which case I absolutely support their proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rader.
Sadie Roskin.
Hello, my name is Sadie Roskin, and I live at 112 2nd Avenue. I was moved to come here today, not only because I enjoy this community very much, having lived here almost 10 years myself, but I also have a couple of students at the Fernie Academy, which, thank you, Laura, is an independent school. My family has benefited tremendously from that experience. My children come home from school and they are engaged and they are happy. Their grades show me as such. But they have limitations at that school, big ones. And so I think that this proposal would help meet that. I think that this proposal is moving forward alongside all of us who are new here, who have been accepted here. And I want to thank the Quayle family before I sit down for the donation all those years ago. And I hope that whatever decision is made, that we can remind ourselves that we all need places to recreate, regardless of where we attend school, regardless of our economic status, and regardless of who we are. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roskin.
Jeff Reed.
Hi, I'm Jeff Rader. I live at 522 10th Avenue. First off, I'd like to thank the Quayle family for the donation of that parking lot. It's quite nice to have parking in downtown. I think we can all agree there's some challenges with parking access in downtown. Being a town with lots of snow, I'm actually shocked we don't have any covered parking downtown. And unfortunately, that lot often is a bit of a disaster in the winter. It's often a slippery risk for orthopedic injuries that I have seen. And as well, I'm a little ashamed to admit this, but I've only, in a 30-year driving record, I've only had one car accident, and it was in that lot, slipping on some snow and on the ice there. I actually can't think of a better way of honoring Doug Quayle's donation than turning that lot into a Fernie's first ever covered parking lot. So that's my thought. Thanks very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Next, I have Rob, and I'm sorry, I couldn't read the signing of the last one. And again, I apologize if I mispronounce your name.
Hi, I'm Rob Alexiak. I live at 12 Single Track Way. There seems to be a bit of a generational divide between people who are against the project and some of the people who are for the project. I think looking forward, this project benefits so many different people, whether it's the families. I think it benefits the businesses that are already there with covered parking, especially for those that may be working all day long and don't want to come back to a snow-covered car. Like I said, it benefits it's seniors who want to be able to park downtown and not have their car covered in snow or have to worry about getting out of the car while it's icy. Disabled people, it benefits them. It certainly benefits the kids at TFA, which I got to say is an amazing school. I think all of us in Fernie should be proud of that school, given its track record and how well it's done provincially. And also the affordability of the school. I think a lot of people lose sight of the fact that, sure, it is a school that we parents have to pay for, but if you offset the fact that kids at the Fernie Academy go to school 5 days a week, every week, you're saving money on the no school Fridays fees, which run about $400 a month from what I understand. So in some cases, if you're two working parents, it can be cheaper for you to go to the Fernie Academy. As far as the gift from Doug Quayle, I think that was his name, 30 plus years ago, I think it's a great gift, but I don't think the city should be beholden to a gift 30 years ago, especially if the family is not contributing to some of the upkeep on a yearly basis. I think the city needs to think about its fiscal responsibility. I think when it comes to rec centers, I know you guys have allocated over $500,000 to a new temporary center. This is almost like, it's like having a society like TFA wanting to do a facility with covered parking, maintaining the legacy of the original gift, hopefully, without a whole bunch of city funds. It's like a fiscally responsible thing to do. I'm actually surprised people are against it. So yeah, that's me. That's what I think. I think TFA is a great school. I think it would be a great spot, and I think a lot of user groups would get a good use out of it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Alexiak.
Chuck Shoesmith.
Does that work?
Yeah, Mike won't pick you up.
Oh, yeah.
Quick thinking, Troy. Thank you.
I have known both Sombrowski's and Quayle family for years.
Sorry, Mr. Shoesmith, your civic address? I apologize.
Oh, sorry. My name's Chuck Shoesmith. I live at 100 Burma Road.
Thank you.
Anyway, I'm in favor of the project. It's a good project. It would still be a parking lot. It would just be covered, be an asset for the city of Fernie. I can't see a downside. I'm not sure of the legalities of it, but I understood it was a lease, so the city would still own the building. That may or may not be correct, but anyway, the city needs more public space, and it's a very active community with all the kids, and we need spaces for people to be in. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shoesmith.
Ange Quinn.
I'm Ange Quinn. I reside at 22 Silver Ridge Way, Fernie. Up until 2 months ago, I resided 1 block away from the parkade for about 11 years. I first want to acknowledge the Quayle family, and I apologize that you're going through this. And thank you for your donation initially. And I can't imagine how hard it is. With a 100-year history in this town, when I've only been here for a decade, change is hard, and I understand that. And I am not good at public speaking. From a relatively new resident standpoint and somebody with a small child that, yes, goes to TFA, which I do want to point out, he goes to TFA because the public school told me I couldn't enroll him there. So that's interesting. We walked to school to and from every day for the past couple years. I walked through this parking lot. I didn't know the history. Also, thank you for the history. We've slipped on ice and broke through the puddles into the mud underneath, having to go back home and change before school. I've watched senior citizens fall out of their cars in that parking lot while I'm assuming they're parking to go to IGS. I think that the proposed project is very good. I think that it satisfies many needs of the city, both the parking lot, also the gymnasium that is or will be used for public access as well. I think it's a great opportunity to get a facility built, hopefully relatively soon, with all of the proposed things out there or the talk about potentially proposing things later. The city is pretty strapped for cash. We all know that. Anything that's ever proposed, it always is an uproar with tax dollars because we know that that's how the city gets its revenue. I think this is a great opportunity to work with the Sombrowskis to get this project together and satisfy all needs. If parking is an issue, what about an option of having a second floor? I have heard Jocelyn myself say that that is an issue. Obviously, there's going to be money. So I think that as a community, we should all work together. I think it's important to hear if people have any issues or negative concerns about it, and we work together as a community to satisfy those instead of just halting things for the growth of everyone here. So I'm sorry, I'm for the project.
Thank you, Ms. Quinn.
Sheena Fulton.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Sheena Fulton and I reside at 124 Ridgemont Crescent with my husband, Tate Clarkson. We own our Ridgemont home as our primary residence. Tate was born in Fernie in 1976 and has resided in the Elk Valley his entire life. Tate and I have 9, yes, I did say 9 children. 6 of our kiddos still reside at home. We own a business in the Elk Valley that employs upwards of 60 people at any given time, many of whom reside in Fernie. Of our 6 school-aged children, only 1 attends the Fernie Academy. 5 attend public schools throughout the valley. They are all involved in school sports and extracurricular activities. These sports utilize the City of Fernie properties and have been impacted by the closure of the community center. We are in support of the TFA Society project for the parking, garage, and gymnasium. We would also like to add, we feel it is of the utmost importance that the Quayle family wishes are both honored and respected. In our opinion, this is achieved by offering a portion of the parking garage to remain free and also by erecting a memorial honoring the Quayle family's generous donation to the City of Fernie. We really feel it's rare to have a situation like this, one that's truly win-win, and that's exactly what this is. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ramona Pittman.
Hello, I'm Ramona Pittman. My address is 27 Mammoth Drive. I am a lot newer to Fernie than many of you, but I love it as you do. And the perspective I bring as a new Fernian is that I fully support this project. I respect everyone's opinion, but it's difficult for me to understand how it could be seen as anything but win-win. The few perspectives that I can offer from where I sit is that, well, I think all schools and all students need recreation space, as all cities do. This seems to meet both of those needs. Recreation space for the students of the school and probably more hours than for the school recreation and gathering places for the public. The extras, the parking, I do struggle to understand the conflict about the parking. I would agree with many of well-spoken people that have come before me, is that it does seem win-win with free or with public parking that is covered and safe and recreational area. Particularly with the closing of the community center. So I don't feel I have a whole lot more to add, except that I fully support and endorse the TFA Society project. And thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pittman.
Eric Gagnon, I hope I said that right or read it right. I have a Fred Fenner. Again, my apologies if I'm reading your handwriting incorrectly.
Good evening. I'm Fred Frenner. I live on 8824 Burton Lake Road in Elko, but I'm a co-owner of a business in town on Lemon Kootenai Road. I think a lot of forethought was put into this a long time ago by the Quayle family to set this aside. But I also think there was a lot of good planning put into this project. And I don't really see anything wrong with it. I'm totally in favor of it. Like, it's really hard for me to see anything negative in it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Frenner.
Lynn Newman.
My name is Lynn Newman. I'm at 15 Mount Proctor Avenue in Fernie. I said, echoing the sentiments of everyone who's come before me here, I am in support of the project proposed by the TFA Society. I think with the closure of the community center, everybody needs to work together to find solutions for recreation space for all the families and user groups. To me, this, like many people have said, seems like a win-win solution. I know the Fieldhouse Society is working hard to provide space, and the TFA Society has come forward here with a proposal to provide space. So I think we're very fortunate that we have all these groups in the community who are willing to come forward with their ideas and their thoughts and proposals to try and make the community a better place for everybody. Most of the points I have here, everyone else has made, but I'll quickly touch on them. Also, hasn't really come up, but there is a new apartment building going on the Fernie Fire Hall site. And with the densification of the core in Fernie, I think we also need to consider more amenities downtown that are walkable. And this helps create a walkable community within the downtown core. I believe the project upholds the intention of the Douglas Quayle family. I didn't know the history prior to being here tonight either, so I'm glad that I was able to be informed on that. As many have said, I believe it's a lease and not a sale, from my understanding of property, and that parking will be upheld and maintained in a better state than it currently is. And then finally, also it is a great experience for the students to be able to have somewhere safe to recreate and have physical education that is outside of the weather. You know, we all have some weather challenges here sometimes. So when we have those minus 40 days, having somewhere that the children can still get exercise, I think is really important for the community as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Newman.
Steve Thompson.
Steve Thompson, 430 Riverside Way, your worship and council. I'm the grandparent of a student at Fernie Academy. And in principle, I support the concept being proposed tonight based on the limited information that's in the agenda. But I'm very curious to hear the business proposal this evening from the proponent. Certainly hearing lots of information or pseudo information from people tonight. So while the proposal's benefit to the Academy is clear, the community benefit is not. The parking lot on 3rd Avenue is a large, underdeveloped section in prime downtown location. The proposed addition of a school gymnasium is not the highest and best use for this site, nor does it add any new parking stalls to the downtown area. Specifically, I was very surprised to see that the proposal only covers 2 of the 3 lots, surface lots, currently used for surface parking. It does not include the one owned by the Academy's landlord, which is also the lot directly behind the school. Should the project proceed, I hope the Academy will encourage its landlord to donate that third parcel to the city and incorporate it into a larger project. My biggest concern with this proposal is that it doesn't add any residential or small commercial retail units downtown, both of which are much needed. As a casual observer, I'd like to say that there does appear to be, some form of Hatfield and McCoy dynamic at play here with this proposal and this site. And I hope that for the sake of the community, that the families involved and everybody will act like adults, put their differences aside, their history aside, and work to create a complete solution that is to the best use of that site. In addition to bringing residential and retail components to the project, I'd encourage the proponents and the city to investigate adding a second parking level below grade. While expensive, and I know that better than anybody, a second level will enable infill development of smaller commercial sites in the downtown core, projects that are not feasible today with zero on-site parking. So in summary, this is a start of a great concept, but the density and other community benefits must be increased to the benefit of the downtown core and to the broad people of Fernie. I encourage council to empower staff to proceed with discussions with the proponent, but with the mandate to maximize the utility of the entire parking lot, all three parcels, again, to the benefit of all citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
So, Your Worship, we have come to the end of the sign-up list, but I appreciate we didn't get a chance to get to everyone. We also have one person online who has had their hand up for quite some time. I'm not sure if you would like to hear our online person first or continue with in person.
I'm sorry. So we've had people in the room who've indicated a desire to speak?
No, just that so many people have come to join us tonight.
I
They may
see.
have not had
Okay.
a chance to sign up or wish to speak now.
Why don't we, well, actually, I'll ask the question. Is there anyone else in the room who'd wish to speak this evening? So why don't we get them signed up? And while you're doing that, we'll, maybe Ms. Rhodes can promote the person online and we can hear from them.
Can everybody hear me? Am I allowed to speak?
You are.
Hi, my name is Yika Gayarki. I live at 9 Lodge Trail Lane. I'm currently in Cranbrook in the soccer dome where my son is playing soccer. One other evidence of the need for indoor spaces in our community in Fernie. I am supportive of the project. I do think it's a win-win scenario for our community. And I think everybody that has spoken today has made amazing, great points. The only additional point that I think hasn't really been put forward is that the Fernie Academy is a nonprofit society and not a private entity. And I think that's important to note. And it is an independent school, not a private school. I have 2 kids that go there and they have been a part of the school since 2014. So I do support the proposal. I'm sure there's lots of further investigation and decisions to be made in regards to it. But I hope to see them come up with a resolution that works for both parties and we can move forward as a community with some new additional indoor space and great parking. I also just wanted to note that as a part of Tourism Fernie, I want to thank the Quayle family for providing this parking area as a donation to public and visitor parking over the many years. And I'm really happy to see that this proposal will continue to provide parking to locals, businesses, and visitors in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gayarki. We're just waiting for our updated list. Thank you.
We have Gary Tomlinson.
Hi, my name is Gary Tomlinson, 1142 10th Avenue. Your mayor and council staff, thank you. The current parking, I'm in support of this project. Current parking lot is a piece of junk. And nobody's going to debate that. Nobody else is lining up to build something for the city of Fernie. It is on leased land. It provides parking that is controlled by the city, and the maintenance costs will be zero. What does it cost to move a snow pile? I saw one of the staff members had a picture of a big snow pile. That's like $500. That's already been spent this year or should be spent. The cost of maintenance will be better. Parking will be efficient. People won't fall down or get in accidents. Again, with the capital projects this city faces, we should be going, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Brock Tomlinson.
Hello, my name is Brock Tomlinson. I live at 1142 10th Avenue. I'm a graduate of TFA of the 2021 class. I'm in support of this project. From what I can tell from the proposal, they are volunteering to not only remove all the potholes from the lot in question, they're volunteering to pave it, which will greatly impact our disabled and elderly citizens, reducing the number of injuries. As for what the Quail Covenant says, it says that the project is intended to be public parking. I believe the proposal satisfies that covenant, as well as we want to be, the proposal wants to build above it, which I don't know anyone who has a flying car yet, but haven't quite figured that out. As graduating from the academy, I could not imagine what it'd be like to not have a community center, as well as it helps council relieve some of the stress that losing our community center had. This temporary will help us or give us time to build a new community center when it's been finalized and complete. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tomlinson.
Leah Bodie.
Hi, I'm Leah Bodie. I live on 9 Elkview Crescent, and I am in support of the project. I think the parking lot right now is a mess. I've already had a fender bender and a slip and fall there this year. I don't even park in it anymore. I walk a few blocks. So I think any improvement I'm in favor of. So that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Bodie.
Steve Marlborough.
Steve Marlborough, 3251 Anderson Road. I think the gift from the Quayle family was very generous, but that was 30 years ago. The city isn't what it was 30 years ago. Sticking with the status quo is the easy thing to do, but moving on is a courageous move. I really think we need this facility. It's a win-win, makes fiscal sense, and it's going to make a big difference to many people in the city. So I'm fully in support of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marlborough.
Rick Lieberger. Apologies, I probably didn't get that right.
Hi, my name is Rick Lieberger. I'm at 1092 10th Avenue. I'm in favor of the proposal here. It honors Mr. Quayle's wishes and provides much needed facilities for the community. A previous speaker was talking about the value of this investment, and he's right. We don't have everything in front of us right now, but I don't really know a better way to invest in the community than by investing in the community. Apparently some people, so I've been reading the Facebook posts and listening here as well. Apparently some people dislike the location of the school. So I've only been here for 2 years, but I don't think that there's a better place for that school. It's in the perfect spot, and the town wouldn't be the same without it where it's at. And that being said, a gymnasium for the students can't be 5 blocks away down the road, and it can't be where the old community center is. That's just not fair for the kids that are there, that have to go back and forth. It needs to be close to the school. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Lieberger.
So we have come to the end of our list again. So I'm not sure if His Worship would like to ask if there's anyone online or in person who has any last minute
Is there anyone in the room who would like to add anything at this juncture? And anyone online? Just raise your hand.
It doesn't appear there is anyone online.
Thank you. And I first want to start by saying thank you, everybody, for being so measured and respectful. It's been very informative for council this evening. Very much appreciate all the perspectives that have been brought to bear. We will carry on through our agenda, and you'll have to be a little bit patient with us because we have some presentations in advance, and then we'll get to this item on the agenda. So thank you again for that. We're now at item 6.1, the 2024 year in review from WildSafe BC. We'll maybe take a moment and let everybody clear the room. So thank you for coming. Whenever you're ready.
And now for something completely different.
Well played.
Thank you so much for having me in to speak today. My name is Deanna, and I served as the community coordinator for the WildSafe BC program for 2024. I was also the coordinator last year. If I look familiar, that is why. And I'm here today mostly to present to you just a brief overview of some of what the program has accomplished over the season. This is in advance of a more detailed report that will be made available if it hasn't already. I believe they usually come out before the year ends, and that will be publicly available as well for further details. But for now, we will get started. Apologies here. It's not, sorry. Okay. Just that. I promise. Okay. Forgive me for my
lapse in technological skills there.
Not at all.
So Wild Safe BC has been running a successful program in the city of Fernie for over a decade now. So I'm assuming many of you are at least a little bit familiar with the program, either in its current form or when it was still being called Bear Aware. But for anybody who is unaware, it's a program, not-for-profit program that focuses on community solutions and education to prevent human-wildlife conflict. So the program is all based on research and was developed specifically for the province of BC. So all of the practices that we go through and the things that we teach people are based in science and on best practices that work for this province. My area that I cover is technically all of RDEK areas A and B. I do get the majority of my work done in Fernie, but it also does include Elkford, Sparwood, and the South Country as well. Some of the things that we offer in terms of the program, we start with education. So we go both into the schools and other youth programs, as well as being present at public venues. We also host workshops for public and private sector businesses. Anybody who wants to have staff training or a bear spray workshop can come to us and get that training free of charge. We also work with the city directly as another tool in your toolbox to promote best practices, educate people about the existing bylaws that we have, and work alongside bylaw and other city infrastructure to deliver our programming. I'm going to focus a little bit on a couple of the big wins that we had over the season, starting with our Wild Safe Ranger program, which is the program that targets our youth. So this year I was able to educate over 500 students across the Elk Valley, all the way from pre-K up to grade 10. And this gamut of students crossed public school, private school, after school programs, really reaching a variety of youth in our communities. Most of these students were from Fernie, or the presentation took place in Fernie. But it is really great to see this opportunity be given to students throughout the Elk Valley. Students who receive this education then go on to be better citizens, better prepared, especially in a community that is so focused on recreation. We want those children to grow up and be able to be safe and confident outdoors and as citizens with respect to the bylaws. I was also able to talk to more than 850 people at community events. Most of these were at the farmers market, but I did also get to attend Family Safety Day, which was another success. It was really great to be invited back. This is another great opportunity because we talk to a variety of people, a variety of ages. We talk to people who have lived in Fernie their whole lives, and as well as tourists who may be visiting Canada for the first time. Getting out this essential information to recreationalists and locals alike. So that's fantastic. We did also train 130 people for either with bear spray or with staff training. When we do the bear spray workshops, we're able to use inert practice spray. So people do actually get a really unique opportunity to practice with a can, get to see how it feels to deploy the spray properly without being in any danger to themselves. And the last thing that we did quite a bit of is outreach. We've been tagging in Fernie for a number of years now. I only caught 19 people this year, which is quite good. And only one of those properties was a repeat. So our data would suggest that this is an effective outreach tool and that most of the people who we connect with and provide education to clean up their behavior and start to comply with the bylaw as written, not putting their garbage out the night before garbage day. We also had an incident with some bears in James White Park earlier in the summer. And we collaborated with bylaw to deliver a customized letter to all of the people living on Mount Proctor, just to inform them of the danger, give them some safety tips, remind them of the bylaw, and also to explain why it's important to follow the bylaw as written with respect to not habituating the animals to come back and continue to pose a risk to the people in that neighborhood. So we're keeping it pretty brief. Overall, I was able to talk to over 2,000 people in person this year, and we reached many more people online, which is really great. Thank you again for your support over these years. It's been wonderful working with the city, and we thank you for continuing to support the program in the future. I will open the floor now if anybody has questions.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Councilor Audie Kelly.
Thanks, Your Worship. Actually, no question. I just wanted to commend you on an excellent job. That reaching that many people is fabulous. Having only one repeat offender, I think we're trending in the right direction, which makes me really happy with our curbside organic program having rolled out. So thank you so much for all that you've done.
And thank you. The city was really great about collaborating with us with respect to the organics rollout. And they used some of our expertise as part of their rollout to ensure that there would be no increase in conflict with the bins, which of course are filled with a bunch of things that bears would love to eat. And as well as taking in our considerations for the types of bins that were selected. So it's a very mutually beneficial partnership. And again, we thank you for that.
Thank you. Other questions or comments from council? Councilor Nixon.
Thank you, Worship. First off, thank you to Ms. Haycock for that presentation. And thanks for all the educational work that you do in our community, which incidentally, I witnessed firsthand. You did a great job at engaging the 27 kids in Mr. Grillius's class. So that was a fantastic afternoon, and all those kids were highly engaged, that's for sure. So you did a great job. Now, the question I have is sometimes the bins in our community are not, people don't have places to store them. Is there any best practices in the province that we have seen that would help people that don't have a place to properly store their bin? Because you do see them quite a bit in the community. Just curious.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, any hard-sided structure is going to be the best place to store any kind of waste that's a bear attractant. If that's not available, if you have, say, a carport or something similar, it's been tried to make like a small enclosure. They don't tend to work very well in this climate because of how much snow we get in the wintertime. So barring that, I think the next best recommendation is for people to anchor the carts to something. Oftentimes the bears don't want to hang around in people's yards once they've received a food reward. They will often drag it away somewhere that they feel more safe to continue working on any other packaging and enjoy their meal. So if we can prevent the bears from actually dragging the carts away from the property, this can be done by lashing it to any kind of tree, fencing, even if you wanted to create like a freestanding anchor system with like cinder blocks or something similar and a chain, just to make it a little bit more of a pain for that bear to be having it be driven away. All of those are effective disincentives to have the bear be going into that garbage over and over.
Thank you. How did our new bins perform this year? Do you have a sense of that?
Yeah, I don't have proper numbers for you, but certainly from the conversations that I've had with people from the city, it actually went really, really well. At my last meeting with someone from the city, there hadn't been a single incident where a bear had breached one of the new organic bins. They are quite a bit better at being wildlife resistant than the black garbage bins that we have in the city currently. So that switch to that other type of bin seems to be effective so far. The key now going forward will be keeping it that way. You don't want to teach the bears over time ways to get into containers. We like to say that there's no such thing as a bear-proof container. because they are extremely clever and they're very, very good at getting into containers. So they work really well so far. Yeah.
Excellent. And you'd indicated there'll be a more fulsome report coming. And this maybe isn't your domain. This is maybe for the Conservation Officer Service, but did we see an increase or a decrease in animal conflict in 2024 versus 2023?
So we don't have very good data for 2023, at least for my organization, because of the sunsetting of the wildlife reporting program that was previously operated by the program. We actually did see a little bit of a dip this year compared to other years. I'm sure some of you it may have seemed like it was a pretty good year, that it wasn't super bad for bears, especially towards the end, considering how warm it was in the fall. Overall, though, when you zoom out, we do see across the province, and especially here in the Elk Valley, that conflicts with bears and other kind of large carnivores is kind of on a steady climb. That's not necessarily all like the city's fault. It's a very complex issue with multiple things going into that number. But we are situated in an environment where we're ripe for conflict in this part of BC, because it's just really fantastic bear habitat. And we're always going to be sitting close to or at carrying capacity for those large carnivores.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? Thank you, Ms. Haycock. Very much appreciate your presentation and the work you do in our community.
Great, thank you.
Item 6.2, Wednesday night socials, a presentation from the Fernie and District Arts Council.
Good evening. My name is Louise Ferguson, and I'm the Executive Director for the Fernie District Arts Council, also known as the Art Station. I'm very nervous to stand up here tonight. It's very intimidating, and I certainly came on a interesting night. So tonight I'm here to talk about the Wednesday Socials. This is an event that has become a summer tradition, bringing live music and connection to our downtown. I want to share what makes this event special, the challenges that we're facing, and how we can work together to ensure its continued success. As we've grown, so too have our needs. Tonight, I'll outline the event's impact and respectfully request the City of Fernie's increased support to help us continue this success. So a little history, the event does start in 2011, believe it or not. So it's got a 14-year legacy, and it was originally under the Summer Social umbrella, which was a result of the Victoria Avenue Committee to bring people downtown and provide a vibrant and animated community. This involved the Chamber and the City, as well as dedicated community members. The Arts Council was responsible for the Wednesday portion, which involves live music and aligns with our mandate. In 2017, the event was split into two, and it became the Wednesday night concert series hosted by the Arts Council and the Sunday Social hosted by the Chamber. When the Sunday Socials ended, we rebranded as the Wednesday Social, as most people know us today. For the event, we look to promote diverse artists, offering opportunities for the community to engage with arts and culture while ensuring fair payment to arts and cultural workers. It is free, all ages event designed to foster connection while staying true to its original purpose of creating a vibrant, lively downtown midweek and supporting economic growth. It has become a summer staple that brings together locals and tourists alike. It is recognized an event of municipal significance. Thank you for approving this again last week to assist us with our liquor license application. It is also outlined in our partnering agreement with the city that the Wednesday Socials are an event of significance and that the ongoing success of the program is important to the community. In just 7 weeks this year, over 9,000 people joined us, locals, visitors, and families enjoying free live music. That's 9,000 people filling downtown Fernie, boosting local businesses and creating a shared sense of community. Last year in 2023, we did similar numbers for over 9 weeks. Around 1/3 of these attendees are tourists. Some weeks are more visitor heavy and some weeks more local. For example, we had more visitors from America on July 3rd as they were here for the July 4th holiday. We have a very good idea of where people are from based on their IDs, which we look at on entering. We get a lot of community support for this event and we could not do it without this. We have the best volunteers with over 360 hours this season, work that not only makes this event possible, but also showcases Fernie's strong community spirit. We also have the support from community organizations who provide us on-the-ground assistance to help us manage the capacity. This year we had 11 food vendors. We use local suppliers as much as possible. Our sponsors and funders are also crucial to our success, and we get a mixture of cash and in-kind, which again enables us to run this event. This event is a free community event, and we do not generate a profit as an organization. That is not our aim. Our aim is to break even. We're looking to cover our costs. We're not looking to make money on the event. This has become increasingly challenging with the rising costs and growing challenges of unpredictable weather. The financial risks are high. As a result, we do have to be flexible and responsive and quickly adjust to any changes or unforeseen circumstances. For 2024, we had around $90,000 cash budget with an additional $14,000 in in-kind support. We were very lucky for 2024 with no major weather disruptions. This is in contrast to 2023, where we had 2 rained out events, which led to a negative of $10,000 for the event. This has to be covered somehow, so we had to pull it from our reserves, which obviously then impacts the capacity of our organization as a whole. It would have been more if we were not able to cut costs at the last minute to try and save funds. Example of this would be canceling security and like a liquor license. You can see from our actuals of 2024, the majority of our revenue does come from alcohol sales. This is obviously not confirmed until the events happen. We don't know in advance what money we're going to make. Another big chunk for 2024 was RMI money. And that was really important to provide that stability and have some money upfront for those fixed costs. RMI money has supported the event from its inception in 2011 up until around 2019, and then again for 2024. It really helps us with the large attendance numbers and, particularly that increase of visitors. For 2024, we also reduced by 2 events, and this was specifically to lower that risk that we had and manage that capacity more. We reduced costs again by changing the approach. This included moving security internally. We invested in increased equipment that reduced staff resources with the support from our sponsors. We can also use these items year round, so it benefits the community ongoing. Some of the key considerations: as attendance continues to grow, we face increased demands on infrastructure and planning. Hosting over 500 people for a special event adds significant costs, such as the need for licensed security. You have to have a licensed security professional when you have an event over 500. This cannot be a volunteer. Our capacity to effectively manage and deliver these events is a critical factor, especially with a very small team. There is myself and 2 other staff members. They don't work full time. For an example, one of them is my pottery studio manager. So when I pull her away from the pottery studio for 8 hours to run the event, that obviously has an impact on our pottery programming. During the summer, our team also juggles long days as we host kids' summer camps. So on Wednesdays, there are team members there for 14 hours as someone has to be present for the kids' programming in the day, and we do not want to impact our kids' programming as a sacrifice to the Wednesday socials. To balance this capacity for 2024, we did not have any programming at the end of August in order to manage that. The weekly nature of these events compounds the challenge. So obviously it goes over several months, including the planning takes a big chunk of our year. The economic impact is undeniable. These events provide a significant boost to local businesses, particularly food and beverage, and they enjoy strong support from residents and visitors. Weather remains a high risk factor. Increasingly unpredictable conditions, whether it's heat, thunderstorms, wind, or wildfire smoke, pose challenges. And unfortunately, our community lacks the infrastructure to support an alternative option. Rises in expenses, including insurance, permits, liquor licenses, security, all require additional financial resources to maintain viability. Lastly, visitor numbers have increased significantly, with many attendees coming from out of town, further demonstrating the reach and impact of these events. The Wednesday socials are more than just an event. They're a celebration of Fernie's creativity, community spirit, and economic vitality. With your continued support, we can ensure this beloved tradition thrives for years to come. We are respectfully requesting the City of Fernie's continued support for the Wednesday socials and are looking for an increased commitment to help us to continue to deliver this event at this level. We currently pay the City of Fernie for the permit, which includes the rental of Station Square and crowd control fencing. This is at a subsidized nonprofit rate, but we'd like you to consider offering it in kind. Last year, this was around $3,000, as well as road closures. I'm not entirely sure if the road closures are included in that 3,000 or if that's in addition. Also, as a note, we do reopen the majority of the roads ourselves and are happy to continue doing this. In addition, we're requesting $15,000 in monetary support for 2025. If RMI funds are allocated for this specific purpose, we would adjust and act accordingly to ensure that we do have the necessary stability that we need. In addition, a 3-year commitment would be wonderful in order for us to plan. We immediately start planning the next social when we're done this year. So we're already in planning. So in order to have some stable funding, it helps us with that planning process. The Wednesday socials have proven to be a valuable asset to our community, fostering social connections, supporting local business, and enhancing downtown vibrancy. Your partnership is vital in maintaining this momentum and ensuring its continued success. Thank you for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Ferguson. Pardon me. Councillor Audie Kelly.
Thanks, Your Worship. Ms. Ferguson, could you just backtrack a little bit? I want to make sure I understood you. You said if RMI funding were available, you might adjust your ask. Did I understand that properly?
Yeah, I wanted to be clear with the ask. We are intending to apply for RMI funding as well as this 15,000. And I know when you heard the Grizz Days presentation, there was talk about that amount all coming from RMI. So if that was like a similar thing, it would be more than 15,000 that we would be asking for.
Thank you. I sort of took it that way, but yeah, I wanted to be sure. Thank you.
Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just for clarification, when you say 9,000 people attended the 9 weeks of it, that wasn't 9,000 individual or unique individuals. It was just total attendance.
It's total attendance. We can't really do individual attendance because it's not like we're taking names at the door. Our count is very accurate inside of the gates because we do count everyone in with the wristbands. So that's very accurate. Outside, it's more of an approximation and we do a count. So yeah, it's not necessarily individual, like locals return. Tourists are obviously different.
Anything else from council? Ms. Ferguson, what level of sort of financial analysis have you done in terms of additional planning for the Wednesday socials? And I ask because I look at the pie charts and the alcohol stands out, of course, the expense versus the revenue. And it, I'll ask it as baldly as that. If you increase the price of, I know 9,000 people didn't buy one beer each, but if 60% of those people were buying beer, there's a significant boost to your revenue if that were the case.
Yeah, absolutely. So the alcohol sales are what is funding the majority of the event for sure. And we did increase the price 2 years ago now, and I do anticipate us increasing the price again. But it really just matches up with the increased costs. So, everything is rising in cost. So we do also want to balance. We don't want the beer to be so extortionate that then people stop buying it. There is that balance. But yeah, it's definitely a consideration for us. I think what we struggle with is that risk factor of, 2023, we have bad weather. We then don't have the beer sales. We then aren't covering our costs, and we have fixed costs that we have to pay whether it rains or not.
Sure.
And there is considerable costs to, the liquor license. It's, $600 a week for the license alone. Insurance, we don't really have much control over. It's really hard to get special event insurance, and particularly for larger events and serving alcohol. We can't shop around. We have one insurance company that will do that for us. So it's really that we're trying to manage the risk factor, and we definitely will look at increasing beer costs as appropriate.
Yeah, and it represents a risk as well, as you point out. If you raise it to a certain inflection point, people aren't going to buy as many.
We definitely also noticed the last time we rose the price, instead of say them buying 4 beers for $20, and we raised it, it would be they just bought 3 beers for 18. So it didn't necessarily increase our beer sales. People just drank less. I also don't want people to feel like they have to buy beer to attend. That's not the focus of the event. Obviously, it is what a lot of people do. We do offer a non-alcoholic beer option as well. And, we encourage donations, to support the event, things like this. So lots of considerations for that.
Of course. Thank you. Councillor Audie Kelly.
Thanks, Your Worship. This one's actually for staff. Are we able to provide any clarity, as Ms. Ferguson mentioned, the cost of the using the square and the road closures? Was that inclusive, or can we provide some clarity on those costs?
Mr. Boranowski.
If I can, council, if council is looking for more information, direction to staff to bring that forward, and then we can go to the permits and go to the fees and do that research and bring it forward to you.
I think the reason that I raise that specifically is I want to be upfront about what those costs are. So I don't want to say $3,000 covers all of the city costs, because I wasn't sure about the road closures. I want to make sure council is aware whether that is an additional cost. It has varied over the years. Updates to the special event process, which have been great. Obviously, things have changed. So sometimes we've paid for road closures, sometimes we haven't. So I just wasn't sure, and I wanted to make sure that it was considered.
No, I appreciate that. Further?
Just a point of order. Do we need a resolution to ask staff to bring that forward?
We do. And actually, I think Ms. Daniel has a draft resolution for us that maybe might suit the bill.
Yes, if I could just clarify through your worship to Councillor Audie Kelly, if you would like to move a resolution, it would be that committee directs staff to bring back a report to a future council meeting with potential funding options for the Wednesday night socials and city event rental costs for this event.
Mover. Councillor Audie Kelly, seconded by Councillor Nixon. Any discussion? I think the nature of this, though, it would also require a conversation with the Fernie District Arts Council as part of that. Do we need to be explicit in the resolution?
I would look to our CAO, but no, I believe staff would reach out to the FDAC when writing this report, just to make sure we had included everything.
Mr. Boranowski?
Staff are nodding. They will absolutely talk to Louise and the Fernie District Arts Council in building a report.
Perfect. Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Ferguson. Always a pleasure. That moves us along to item 6.3. 402 and 42022 3rd Avenue lots, a presentation from the Fernie Academy Society.
Hello. My presentation should be under 10 minutes. However, there were a number of items that were brought up in the public input period that if you would like me to clarify, I would be more than happy to do so, but I would go slightly over the 10 minutes.
Well, I think given the nature of the subject matter, I think if you clarify as much as you can, that would be much appreciated.
Even if I go slightly over?
Please.
Thank you, Mayor Milligan. Okay. I haven't started. Now, can I start?
Yeah, please,
All
go
right,
ahead.
so I am Jocelyn Sombrowski. I am a representative tonight of the Fernie Academy Society. We are a BC registered not-for-profit society, and we are interested in creating a community parking structure and gathering space on properties 402 and 422 3rd Avenue. These are two of the three lots that make up the parking lot adjacent to the Fernie Heritage Library. The idea is meant to benefit the community, to benefit the whole community, as together we are all suffering the loss of the community center. Our vision is to protect and improve the current asset of public parking in our downtown core, in addition to providing community space for recreational and cultural activities. This is not a proposal for exclusive use. The City of Fernie cannot service every community need themselves. The Fernie Academy has been pleased to work with other user groups to help develop a fieldhouse concept at the ODR. However, more than one solution is needed to serve our growing community. People of all ages and sport and cultural interests need places to gather and hold their activities. In the spring of 2002, it was announced that the CL Salvador School was to be closed. By mid-August, the Fernie Academy Society was registered with BC non-for-profit societies, and I was retained by the board to lead operations for a new independent school. As an independent school, we employ BC certified teachers and deliver BC curriculum. We offer an educational option to students who have come daily over the years, as far as Cranbrook to Elkford. We are rigorously inspected to ensure that we are meeting BC school standards and can only then receive partial funding from the province. We offer a robust bursary program so that any student interested in partaking in a liberal education may do so without monetary challenge. In fact, only 55% of our students pay full tuition. TFA is not a private school. TFA is not privately owned. After previously renting classrooms at the Holy Family Church and unsuccessfully bidding on the purchase of the CLS school, TFA entered into a long-term tenancy within the IGS building and has invested heavily in significant renovations therein. We intend to stay in this location as it affords our students walkable access to the many assets of our community that we visit and rent. We fundraise and volunteer for other community partners. We endeavor to instill the importance of giving back. We are committed to shopping locally and offering educational choice. From 2002, TFA has been a large renter of community assets, particularly the community center. Over the years, other community groups have developed and we have had less opportunity to rent. Like so many others in our community, our 300 students have been displaced without this important community asset. On behalf of the Fernie Academy Society, this is an offer of a potential solution to the loss of the community gathering space. This proposal was first made to council in 2013 and has been loosely discussed over the past 11 years. This is a presentation of a concept that is not yet finalized. The project is open to more investigation and development. The idea of constructing a heritage-style building in the historic downtown core is congruent with the OCP. Creating a multi-use facility is in line with high-density initiatives. This view is across the street and to the right of the post office, and the other side faces the College of the Rockies. This would now be one of the first impressions that guests to our city would have when entering our beautiful downtown core. The entire ground floor is a covered parkade. Its ceiling is the floor of the gymnasium or performance hall, and one of the two gathering spaces this will provide. This illustrates the service that heated sidewalks can provide. Adjacent city sidewalks will be redone with hydronic heat lines installed for snow melt. This will allow better accessibility to the library and post office on 3rd Avenue. Whilst on 4th Street, it provides access to the parking area so that the covered entrance into the building doubles as a community bus shelter. Public access to the parkade would be through the alley. An elevator would be installed in the new building, and an outdoor pedway would connect to the school. This would afford access for students and community members who are challenged by our staircase to the 2nd floor. Our plan to include public parking on the ground floor would not only meet the current restriction, but improve it by installing 33 covered, paved, lit, lined, and maintained parking stalls, and a locked bike enclosure for public use. The intent of this new level of parking is to service the needs of the community and uphold the terms of the covenant of 1993. In the spirit of this transaction, we have proposed, since our initial discussion 11 years ago, to name the parkade portion of the build for the Quayle family and to recognize their contributions to our community. We feel the improvements to the state of the current lot would benefit the whole community and better honor the legacy of Douglas Quayle and his family. We propose that the city consider redirecting funds currently allocated to snow removal from these lots toward maintaining this ground level public parking, thereby keeping its current access for all citizens. The 2nd floor could house at least 1 full-size basketball court with 2 volleyball courts, retractable bleachers, washrooms, change rooms, and small classrooms or offices. Another option is 2 courts with just bleachers, storage, and change rooms. The Fernie Academy does not need access to the gymnasium exclusively. Our school sports teams practice in the morning before school starts. Therefore, the gym could be rented from 8 a.m. to noon daily, and again after school intramurals every evening, every weekend, every public holiday. We have already begun informal discussions with a number of community user groups who service members of all ages. For any organization who has attended city-hosted user group meetings, it is abundantly clear that there is not enough rental space. This particularly applies to adult and senior groups who are often left without space due to the prioritization of youth activities. Our students have utilized city grounds for learning activities since 2002. We pay a daily rental fee, regardless of whether we are playing directly on grass or on snow on grass. Our own outdoor recess facility would enable us to relocate from city grounds and share this with other community members. There are 2 other potential uses for this outdoor space. This version could be rented for sports activities or gatherings like weddings, family, or public functions. This is another option. On all options, fencing will be recessed and netting may be installed to prevent balls from leaving the roof. This is what the lots look like at the moment. With the current unstructured parking situation, fewer stalls are available, especially in the winter months when the city cannot clear the lots due to cars left overnight, and the ensuing large snow piles occupy several stalls and reduce visibility. The current maintenance has left the parking lot with large potholes which fill with water and ice, resulting in safety concerns. Even in the months when there is no snow, the lot often holds vehicles that are parked askew or taking up several spaces, such as campers, trailers, and boats. This shows that the snow pile that the snow pile is often still taking parking spaces in April. In our letter to the City of Fernie in July 2024, we proposed that the services seen here be installed underground. In 22 years of school operation, we were forced to close only one day due to a collision with a power pole that posed a safety risk. We recognize the land is at a premium, respecting the restricted covenant, improving that parking, and then employing the space above it is a best utilization of the footprint. We respectfully request a letter of support in principle so that we may determine our capacity for the project and to direct staff to begin work on a long-term lease for lots 402 and 422 3rd Avenue that would ensure city maintenance for the parking level to guarantee this critical service to the public. Despite the different routes that brought residents to Fernie, whether born and raised here or newcomers, we are all here because we love our community and we want what is best for it. As citizens, it is our duty to honor the past, to learn from it, and to make the best choices for our community as a whole moving forward. So before I welcome questions from council to clarify anything about this project, we would be more than interested in talking to a community partner who might want to invest on a 4th floor. I believe we can have 4 floors without having a variance. If a 4th floor investor was interested in putting something on the ground floor, like commercial, or if someone was interested in putting an additional level of parking down below, or possibly the 4th floor could become housing, we are more than interested in talking with community partners. The Fernie Academy Society has only a nest egg, we think, that would cover the current proposal, but that doesn't mean we are bound by it. And I just wanted to be absolutely clear, we are not trying to buy these lots from the city. We are interested in a long-term lease.
Thank you, Mrs. Sombrowski. Questions from council? Councillor Nixon.
Thank you, Worship. Just curious about that other lot that, if we go back at the one slide there, the one lot that's closest to the museum, I'm just curious about that lot. There was some indication in the 29 people that talked tonight that there was, that the Sombrowski family owns that lot as well.
So the 3rd and final lot in the area would not be affected with this current proposal. It's not part of our proposal, not part of the Fernie Academy Society proposal. I cannot speak to its owner nor the intentions of the use. I am merely a tenant in the IGS building and I'm not involved in the business of the family.
Thank you. Other questions? What, are you snatching at a fly there, Councillor Schussman? Just like a couple of questions for me, Mrs. Sparowski.
Okay.
You talked about a letter of support in principle to explore your capacity for the project. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Give us a sense of you.
In 2013, when we first proposed this project, we had money and we were shovel ready. But it's been 11 years and obviously there's inflation and we are unsure what the current proposal would cost. As a non-for-profit society, we have been unwilling to invest any more money to engage more recent pricing. And so with an assurance from the city that it would be, that is a possibility, then we would be happy to proceed to get those exact costs. And if it was possible, then we would like to come back to you and say, this is what we can do. This is what our price would, or how much we could afford. It's entirely possible that it's out of our scope.
Fair, yeah. Yeah, to your point, since 2013, the costs have certainly escalated across the board.
Precisely.
Thank you. Your one comment, and I sort of direct this to staff a little bit about redirected funds from parking lot maintenance. I think what we heard tonight is there isn't a lot of parking lot maintenance. And
there must be snow removal.
Yeah.
There must be some budget for snow removal. And so we are wondering, could any of that money be diverted to maintain the parking level so that it can remain as it is and be fully accessible to public?
No, I absolutely appreciate the sentiment. I'm just, I think it's a little bit of a wake-up call for us in terms of the number of incidents that people spoke about in that parking lot as it currently exists. And I think we need to be, I know we heard it, and we just need to be cognizant of that. Sorry, go ahead.
I have 2 faculty out this week due to concussion from falling Monday morning.
Oh, goodness.
And that's a usual week for us.
Please hold the comments in the gallery, or we'll have to clear the gallery. So thank you. Councillor Adi Kelly.
Thanks, Your Worship. Mrs. Dombrowski, if you don't mind me asking a couple of things. There has been a lot of discussion about the parking becoming a fee. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Again, there will be maintenance required daily. As we have one of our 2 main entrances on the front of 2nd Avenue, we quite often come to school in the morning to find litter and urine and things like that in front of the building. And I'm sure a covered parking place may welcome that sort of behavior. So there will be daily maintenance. It will need to be swept. Light bulbs will need to be changed. I am sure that the lines will need to be painted from time to time. So there is a cost to maintain that. And as a non-for-profit society, we cannot maintain that cost alone. And that's why we are asking the city to partner with us so that the parking can remain as it is.
Further?
One other point of clarification. I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on what Councillor Nixon asked, because as some folks in the gallery mentioned and social media, so there hasn't been any investigation or steps looked at to acquiring the 3rd lot. The ask is for the 2 citizen-owned lots.
The 2 city-owned lots, yes. Yes.
Thank you. Other questions from council? Councillor Nixon.
Thank you, Worship. Just curious if we have any idea, just a question for staff, if we have any idea on the cost of burying the services in that alleyway. Probably not. Sorry.
No, sir. Completely unknown. We'd actually need to go out and ask BC Hydro about power and weight. Those are extended designs and expensive designs to get in the first place, and then extended timeframes to get the outcome of that design work.
Thank you. Further? No.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not more of a question. It's just more of a comment. I think we have an incredible opportunity here. Right now we have an unsightly parking lot that costs us everything. It costs us how much every year? We have through a letter of support to see a transformation of our downtown core while also providing this needed amenity for the entire community. So I'm in favor of having this as supporting the letter, having a letter of support.
Ms. Daniel, you proposed a draft resolution that could advance this conversation?
Yes, Your Worship. So I could read something out and confirm it is what Councillor Nixon would like to move.
Please.
And before it's moved and seconded, we can always edit it to your like. But it would be that committee directs staff to meet with the Fernie Academy Society regarding the proposed land lease project. That committee provide a letter of support in principle for the proposed land use project and planned lease project, and bring back a report to a future council meeting. I'd be more than happy to clarify that by writing that down and sending it to everyone in our webinar chat.
Yeah, please, if you
Yes,
don't mind.
it'd be much clearer.
And while you're doing that, I wanted to ask, and maybe this through Mr. Boranowski to Manager Similini, the proposed housing project on the, I'm looking at Mr. Thompson too, he probably knows this answer, on the old fire hall site is 4 or 5 stories? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Mr. Similini would have to look at the application.
It is 5 stories.
5 stories.
And it required a variance in order to to get to 5 stories, or did it not? Please, thank you. I'm just trying to remember that.
Do you want to come here? Sure.
Thank you, Worship. Sorry. Yeah, you did put me on the spot, Your Worship, but I had someone show me that it was 5 stories. It did not require a variance to go to 5 stories. There's a tower feature on the front of the structure that goes over the maximum height. That would require a variance, but that's not to build the 5th story. It's just for that feature.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Just for your worship, I have sent through in the chat and kind of flipped it around. So first, it would be that committee provide a letter of support in principle for the proposed land lease project, and that committee direct staff to meet with the Fernie Academy Society regarding the proposed land lease project and bring back a report to a future council meeting.
I like the direction this is going, not least because there are a lot of course, unanswered questions. Mrs. Sikorski, you've talked about some that you have yourself, but also discussions about usage. You've proposed almost 7,000 hours of outside usage available in this facility, and it would be, as the landowner, it would behoove us to explore how that serves us as a broader community. So I think, on the face of it is also very exciting. But yes, on that note, I'll just ask, would you read the resolution one more time and we'll put it before council?
Yes, that committee provide a letter of support in principle for the proposed land lease project, and that committee directs staff to meet with the Fernie Academy Society regarding the proposed land lease project and bring back a report to a future council meeting.
Moved by Councillor Nixon, seconded by Councillor Hamilton. Any further discussion? Councillor Shoesmith, and then Councillor Audie Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor Milligan. Bear with me for a second while I collect some thoughts here. Appreciate all the public engagement. It's nice to look at people while we discuss things like this. Before I wade into which way I'm leaning on this and why, I've of course read all the comments and seen all the acrimony and people slinging mud at each other over this, and I really think that's pretty regrettable. I've been told, oh, why are you even entertaining this? Well, everybody has the right to come before council and make a presentation. That's not our endorsement, that's their right. This is a very preliminary thing. All the conclusions being jumped to is annoying. It's upsetting. And, on the one hand, we have the Douglas Quail mud puddle and snowbank. And on the other hand, we could have the Doug Quail most excellent parkade. I think that it is a pretty good thing for the town if people can look past their emotions on this issue. However, the thing that tips this for me is always that we do have an agreement about this land, and in order to be absolutely clear on whether or not this is or is not within that agreement, I'd have to talk to a lawyer, which tells me I probably shouldn't be reneging upon it. What I'd like to see is for people to come around. I think that would be wonderful, but so long as there is that covenant upon the land, I think that we should hold to it unless the people who've signed it or their family comes around. And my reason for that is that as the city of Fernie, we make tons of deals with people all the time. If we're seen to be not valuing those deals highly because it's merely convenient or because it's better at that moment in time, then that's not really worth anything. So for my part, unless there's some rapprochement on this matter, I will be voting against this, despite the fact that I think it is a genuinely excellent proposal. And I think it's coming from a good place, and there's no evil angles to this whatsoever, regardless of what the internet may say. Before I finish, I'm sure people are already calling me names on Facebook, but that's fine. I actually relish that. That's kind of fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Shoesmith. And I wanted to thank you for your comments about people's right to appear before council. It is not an endorsement. It is everybody's right and opportunity to come and state their case before council. So thank you for revisiting that idea. Councillor Roddy Kelly.
Thanks, Your Worship. I was very pleased to see that there were a lot of people in the gallery tonight and very dismayed that quite a lot of people left. I think that was unfortunate. I have some of the same concerns as Councillor Shoesmith, and I've really been agonizing over this for the past little while. I think it's important to honor our agreements, and despite the fact that some of the comments seem to negate historical value, I think history has value. When we discussed the possibility of breaking the covenant on Prentice Park, I believe there was unanimous agreement with this council to fully consult with the Prentice family to respect the wishes of the Prentice family. For those of you who aren't familiar with the history of Prentice Park, it's important to understand that the Prentice family was not the landowner. Bill Prentice worked for the corporation that donated the land to the city with the condition that it be used in perpetuity for recreational purposes and green space. The park was named in his honor, but the Prentice family was never financially impacted by the donation of that land. My father, along with other business leaders, contributed time, resources, staff, and equipment to the development of the park. Mayor Milligan worked closely with the Prentice family to consult them on the decision to site the new fire hall on that land, and the family agreed to honor the council's decision. In the case of the land donated by the Quill family, a family who has resided here since 1897 and contributed much to the community, Doug Quayle and Wilda Quayle owned that land and generously donated it to the city, bearing significant financial costs to themselves and their heirs. They could have chosen to retain the ownership and allowed the land to appreciate in value and pass it down to their children and grandchildren. Instead, Doug Quill selflessly chose to donate it, prioritizing the community's benefit over his own financial interests. His intentions were clear and legally documented. There can be no doubt that he ever intended for the land to be used by any entity for purposes other than those he envisioned, which included, as I understand, the air rights. So I do believe that in order to move this forward, I would like to see the Quayle family, their wishes respected. If it means that we maybe have some further discussions with them as well, I think that's important to do. And I think it is in line with our established practice where we honored the Prentice family wishes. And I think we need to have some discussions with the Quill family. I think that that's an important thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you. I respect everything that my fellow councillors have said, and I would propose that we amend the resolution on the floor to direct staff to add the Quayle family into the discussions, but keep the letter of support and principle, because I've sat in this chair for 6 years. We've got 2 now potential projects for adding gymnasium space. Neither of them have broken ground. How many housing projects do we have proposed to add affordable housing? None of them have broken ground yet. I think we need to keep the project moving forward until such time as we have to make a go, no go. This isn't that time.
Thank you for that. So you're proposing an amendment to the resolution that says staff must also, in this process, engage the Quayle family in this conversation.
Yeah, I would suggest that we amend it. The second that committee directs staff to meet with the Fernie Academy Society and the Quayle family regarding the proposed land lease project and bring back a report to council.
Seconder to that amendment? You can.
And if the parties refuse?
We can't compel anybody to enter into a conversation.
Yes. So then, nothing? I'm not sure how this would go under those circumstances.
In my understanding, we are directing staff to reach out to them and they refused. The report comes back saying they didn't want to speak to us. And that's the report that we receive. And then we can talk about it then.
Seconder? Sorry, Ms. Daniel, can you read the amendment that we're?
Yes, so the amendment motion moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor Nixon, would be that the motion be amended to state that committee directs staff to meet with the Fernie Academy Society and the Quayle family regarding the proposed land lease project.
Further discussion?
Your worship, could we ask our city attorney for a legal opinion on the covenant?
Absolutely, we will. I think we must in this circumstance. And Mr. Barnowski?
I believe the city's received at least one or two of those in the past many years that we can dig up. We can also get those records provided again to council.
That would be helpful and potentially refreshed if that's required. And as we discuss this amendment, I don't want folks for a minute to think I'm in any way disregarding the contribution of the Quails or the history of the Quails. They really have been community builders in this town. But this community continues to move forward. And this is the first proposal that I've seen, certainly that honors, makes every effort to honor the history of that donation while being additive ultimately to our community, particularly in a time of crisis for recreational space. And I would hope that all parties can come to the table and have a conversation about how best we accomplish that. Because I think that would be a very good thing for this community in the long run. Other discussion? So with that, I'll call the vote on the amendment. All those in favor? Myself, Councillor Hamilton, and Councillor Nixon. All those opposed? Councillor Shoesmith and Councillor Audia Kelly. That the amendment passes, and now I will call the vote on the original original motion, but I'll have to ask you to read it again.
Yes, so the original motion as amended would be that committee provide a letter of support in principle for the proposed land lease project, and that committee direct staff to meet with the Fernie Academy and the Quayle family regarding the proposed land lease project and bring a report back to a future council meeting.
Thank you. And before we vote, I did want to say again, as a point of discussion, this is not a done deal. This is an exploratory effort, both on our part with the historic donators of the land and with the Fernie Academy Society, as they've indicated, whether they have the capacity to complete this project. So I think it's a very important conversation to have, and I think that's what we need to remember. This is just a conversation at this point. And so with that, yes.
Sorry, Your Worship, just having a moment here. We had it first moved by Councillor Nixon and just seconded by Councillor Hamilton. Just wanted to
Correct.
confirm with the
Thank you.
importance.
Thank you. You interrupted my flow there. That's okay. I think everybody understands where I'm going with that. So with that, I will call the question. All those in favor? And those opposed? Same as last time. Thank you, Mrs. Sombrowski.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, everybody, this evening for your attendance and for your respectful participation. And with luck, we will have a clearer picture when the report comes back to council. Thank you. With that, I'm going to propose a 10-minute recess. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, I only just now saw your recommended meeting break on the top of the next page. We will reconvene committee of the whole. We're having one meeting here, folks. And begin with a presentation from Bylaw Services, third quarter report. This is Officer Leach, I believe, from, oh, she's zooming in.
I am. Thank you, Your Worship and members of council. I'm just looking on how to share my video. For some peculiar reason, it's not popping up on my end to be able to share my PowerPoint.
Can someone on our end assist getting her presentation up?
We are just assisting at the moment. It'll
Thank
just
you.
take a
There we
moment.
go. Okay. 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 Are you guys seeing that okay?
We can see it now, Officer Leach.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Your Worship and members of council. Wow, that was a very interesting meeting. I'm going to be fairly quick. I have the lovely full plow shift tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. So I'm just going to be super quick. This is the Bylaw Services third quarter report for 2024. So I'm just going to touch a bit on a few things here. You're going to notice once again that the request for services, the recycling is way up. That's just because that's the reports that come in from GFL. And I've had some really super great feedback from GFL regarding the composting. I wanted to mention that. We did have the engineer department, I believe, send out some letters regarding recycling. Joanne Line did that. And so people are now just starting to get letters. We have a couple of repeat offenders that were issued them. So she'll be able to touch base on that when she gives her report. Next, I'm going to discuss short-term rental licenses. We have 18 new for this third quarter. 67 were renewed, and we're looking at approximately 248 total year to date. Now, when I say that, take into consideration that that doesn't necessarily mean there are 248 houses that are being used as short-term rentals. The way the system works is it does include some places such as hotels are considered a short-term rental as well. However, they don't require that specific type of license. Business licenses, we have 17 new, 329 renewed, totaling 1,116 total for the year to date. And I'm going to power through this. Pet licenses, we have 8 new, 20 renewed. So it's increased by 4 since the last quarter. And I believe that comes out as 228 licenses to date. And I had the great opportunity as well for attending the family safety day. So at Family Safety Day, I took my lovely dog there, Officer Yogi. He's down there to the right-hand side of the screen. We were able to talk and interact with the public and educate in a very fun manner. We were introducing the animal responsibility bylaw. And of course, I always love reaching out to the public. We had some amazing feedback from them as well. Great support from the public. And that was our first time attending the Family Safety Day, and we're definitely going to be doing that again. It was a great opportunity. Moving over to the municipal ticket infractions. So we can see here the first quarter is in blue, second quarter in red, third quarter is in green, and the purple are warnings. So warnings can be everything from municipal information warning. It can also be a verbal warning as well. We try and keep record of those. Definitely noticing out in the field, we've got some great compliance coming from the community, some awesome support. Very proud and very happy of our community. They're doing great. And conclusions, we're going to continue working with the public through education, compliance, compassion, and enforcement. And like I said, we would definitely like to, or I would definitely like to attend the Family Safety Day again next year, and continuing with the Bylaw Buddy program, working with the students as well. Do you have any questions for me or anything, Your Worship, or members of council?
Thank you, Officer Leach. Questions from council? I have, oh, sorry. Councillor Nixon?
Thank you, Worship. I did actually have a question. I was just curious about the, if we were reworking the short-term rentals and the bylaw, I couldn't find that, but I thought that that was on the work plan last year. I don't know, maybe I didn't find it here. somewhere.
Well,
I'm just curious about
I had exactly the same question because there was a conversation of SCR licensing fees and as an opportunity. Can you update us on the status of that, Officer Leach?
For increasing the fees?
Well, there was a fee review, we'll put it that way. And as we're heading into budget, it's probably a timely conversation.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't have any specific information regarding that. I do believe that Officer Kramer was kind of going to be presenting something going forward regarding that. So I, unfortunately, at this particular time, I can't comment on that.
Okay, thank you. I'll just look at the staff. Mr. Bornowski.
Bylaw Officer Kramer has drafted the report. He's been working on that quite a bit. We'll look at our look ahead calendar and send that information to council. But it is a live report coming to council in the near future.
Excellent, thank you. Other questions from council? I have a couple, Officer Leach. In the work plan that came with the report, there was a revision of the bylaw, the noise bylaw.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe given the answer we just got, it's not a question for you, it's a question for staff. When will that come before council?
I can, sorry, Mr. Bornowski, I can comment a little bit on that. So I have done up the noise bylaw. It was a very complicated bylaw. I was trying to, essentially, when I created it, Fernie is such a unique community regarding, we have businesses mixed in with residential areas. So obviously trying to take everything into consideration. So I have drafted up that bylaw, and it is, I believe, going to be reviewed. So hopefully we'll see it coming forward to council for, you know, to take a look at it within, I'm hoping, I'm crossing fingers. I don't want to, you know, curse myself here, but I'm hoping that within the first quarter of the new year, but obviously it depends on how things go.
Thank you. Yeah, fair enough. Other priorities. Mr. Bornowski.
The short-term rental fee report is slated for January 14th, council.
Thank you. And the noise bylaw, any information on that?
I don't have that on the look ahead yet, council, mayor and council.
Thank you. And one last question, appreciating you got to get up early. Officer Leach, the status of the properties on Cold Clow in West Fernie.
Yes, thank you. So currently, obviously not much work has been done regarding the remedial action. However, we are moving forward. The unfortunately, it's going through the court process now. So the latest photographs of the property was taken on December 11th by myself, and that information is now going to be given over to our attorney, which is going to go through the court system to follow through with remedial action. So we are moving forward. Obviously, a slower process. We had a couple of bumps in the road, obviously, with the burning of the building, but we are still going forward with that. Yes.
Thank you. Other questions for council, from council? Councillor Nixon?
Thank you, Your Worship. I had the same question, and it's about the Coquelin building, and it's actually, I went and looked at it. It's been a year and almost 2 weeks since we've given that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just as worried as I was then as I am now about it falling down and hurting somebody or falling into the building next to it. So
Yeah, understood. That's
you know,
why I
it's-
asked.
yeah.
And I appreciate we can't move without appropriate authorities. So I understand we're sort of stuck in the process on this one, but it would be nice to expedite that if we could.
Yes, definitely. We did get the owner of the property to put up some barricades, obviously, and some signs to which to this date remain up. But the sooner we can get the property rectified for public safety, obviously, the better.
Thank you. Councillor Audie Kelly.
Thanks, Your Worship. Officer Leach, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about the parking infractions and if you have been having a lot of difficulty with people not following the winter parking regs.
It's actually been probably the last year was very difficult. This year has been absolutely wonderful. People are really getting the hang of it. We're being able to provide a consistency that we haven't been able to in the past, due to the fact that the tow truck would, break down or would be away doing another tow. So we've been able to have access more to the tow truck, providing a more consistent approach to it. And obviously, I'll be able to elaborate more on the fourth quarter report, but we did start off with our typical educational awareness kind of thing where we went from, door to door. We also did, a bunch of on vehicles. We do feel that we do have signs that are going to be going up on 2nd Avenue to help educate people that are from out of town. That aren't aware of the winter parking regulations. And so I think that will help tremendously as well. However, that's not going to be this year, so it'll be probably in the spring once some of the snow melts and all the signs come in. But this year's been a really great year. We've had great compliance. People are completely understanding and very supportive.
Thank you. Other questions from council? Seeing none, thank you, Officer Leach. Get a
Okay,
good night.
thank you. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a wonderful night.
You too. Item 7.2. Third quarter planning and development report, a report from our manager of planning.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, everyone. Just as with the last time the report was presented for council to receive and open to discussion for any questions on the Q3 report.
Sorry, Councillor Audie Kelly, please.
Not so much a question on the report, Your Worship, but a follow-up on the ask that the building officials come and speak to council. Have we moved that ask forward?
Your Worship, we have not moved that forward. I mean, their capacity is quite full at the moment, so to be able to prepare for something like that would take some time and capacity to do. I don't know what the outlook of that would be, but.
Sorry, Councillor Audie Kelly, can you explain that ask exactly? What is it we want from our building officials?
A few weeks ago, we discussed having them come and talk to us for more or less educational patterns, challenges, just to get a better sense, because we hear so many things, a lot of negative, that I would actually really appreciate, and I believe there were other councillors who agreed that it would be valuable to hear from the building officials.
Thank you. And sorry, because I suspect I was absent for that conversation. Was that direction to staff via resolution? How did we advance that?
Your Worship, I don't believe there was a resolution. Okay. I think it was just suggested at the, I think it was probably like when we did the Q2 report.
I see. Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, if I don't disagree. I think it would be valuable to hear from them. But of course, I also appreciate how busy they are. So if there is a opening in their capacity, and it would be good to understand their work, their role, the nature of their work, and the challenges they face.
Yes, Your Worship, and like those are all good points. But I think that what we would like to do in order to do that would be to actually have specifics on what they're presenting on, so that we can actually put a report together. And for that matter, we may be able to report on their behalf as well, as far as their role, because I think it goes beyond just the building official. There's with it being our process goes through a team, right? We do a planning review, and there's referrals, and there's lots of moving parts beyond just the building official to a building permit being approved. So I think that a more wholesome report from myself or members of the planning team to actually walk through, how an application is received and how it's reviewed, and that again, not just from the building official's perspective, but from the department's perspective as a whole.
Yeah, that would be helpful, Mr. Bornowski. And maybe sort of reflecting on this, perhaps a notice of motion from council to perhaps our next meeting to move that forward would be helpful. At least then the direction is clear. That's fair. I had a question arising from the planning report, Mr. Similini, and that was and I know this is a difficult question to answer. Do we have a sense of the time of issuance of a building permit?
Your Worship, that's a great question, and it was one that Councillor Ramadas had brought up before, as well as far as turnaround times go. Yeah. Every building permit application is different, and when we are dealing with unique applications, we don't know how long each one's going to take, and each permit that takes extra time influences every other permit application that's made. So it's tough to estimate, but what we are doing is we're it's difficult because our tracking system right now isn't great. For example, if I see in our tracking system that we have now, we could look at something that maybe took 2 months to issue. We have to go through and what is the timeline on those 2 months between communication, the time that the city had the application versus the time that it went back to the applicant to get more information, for example. But what we want to do is get a little bit of a baseline or an average in order to look at that and give you a key performance indicator for adoption of cloud permit and our software. Perfect. To see what the improvements are. So as part of knowing what the success of permit tracking software is, we really do want to get an idea of what we were doing before and what those timelines were before. But again, I mean, I could say it takes, if every application was perfect and it came through, we would be looking at like 6 to 8 weeks for the review time. And that would be, again, if everything was in line, that would be 6 to 8 weeks to issuance. But when there's so much back and forth and so much communication, every individual permit is different.
Thank you. Sorry, Councillor Audie Kelly, did you have a follow-up?
Thanks, Your Worship. Actually, I did want to ask Manager Similini a little bit about the cloud permit and kind of where it was at and how are you finding it valuable? But you kind of answered some of that actually.
Yeah, Your Worship, through to Councillor Audie Kelly. This Q3 report does note that we are moving forward with cloud permit, and it sort of ends there because it ends at the end of Q3. But as an update, we've been communicating with cloud permit. We've sent them all of our application forms and checklists for development permits, building permits, hazard lands development permits, those types of things. They are currently working on integrating those into their system. We are just sort of communicating with them on the GIS aspect of things, the mapping side. And then we're hoping to have sort of I guess kind of a beta version that we can look at and sort of sort through with them here in the coming month or so. And then they estimated that the go live date, and go live doesn't mean it's out to the community yet, but the go live date where we actually have a product where we can look at and play around with internally first before we put it out to the public would probably be mid-February sometime. And again, we're communicating with them and working with them to make that happen. So things are moving forward, and you know, it's been a pretty good process with them so far.
Excellent. Thank you. Other questions from council? Seeing none, we'll move on to your next report, Mr. Similini, the memorandum on the housing needs report.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. So as part of Bill 44 and the province requiring housing needs report updates in conjunction with the housing crisis and ensuring that we know the direction that we're headed as a community, they have said that by the end of this year, we need to have a housing needs report done. And I think that what we're doing is we found ourselves in a situation after doing all the small scale multi-unit housing and the zoning and all that process, as well as our current planning process, we found that we didn't have the capacity to do a full-on wholesome report. That being said, it is part of our OCP process that's going to be going forward. So this report that you see here is truly an interim report, and it does answer the questions that the province said we needed to answer, albeit in a fairly rudimentary format. So those questions are: what are the housing needs? What are the housing needs in the community for 5 and 20 years? We needed to have a statement about housing being close to transportation. And we also needed to list the actions that we'd taken since the last housing needs report was done. The last housing needs report was done in 2021, I believe. So this report does go over that. It does answer those questions. It actually utilizes a tool from the province called the HART tool. That is the Housing Assessment Resource Tools. It's endorsed by the province. I think it was done by, I think it was a UBC project, although I could stand to be corrected on that. Essentially what it does is it takes all of our census data and for what it's worth, puts it into a black box and then produces the numbers that we are required to report on. So that was actually fairly simple to do. And the numbers that are in front of you just came directly from that. And that's what the province requires us to do. What it's telling us is we have a fairly daunting task ahead of us. So for over 5 years, we would need to provide a total of 551 total new dwelling units. And over 20 years, we need to provide a number of 1,856 total dwelling units. And that's across several different, call it demographics or components. And those definitions and those components are listed in the staff report. What we really don't know, and I think what the more detailed report will tell us that will be coming forward as part of that OCP process, is what types of houses or what types of dwelling units those actually are. Are they rental units? Are they apartments? Are they condos? Are they townhouses, single family suites? So that'll help us do that. And it would also help us to, in moving forward with the OCP and our housing needs and our expansion areas and our current neighborhood fabrics, tell us where we might be able to locate those types of builds in order to meet these needs. So again, the numbers are pretty staggering. 551 dwelling units over 5 years is well over 100 dwelling units a year, where we've historically been producing 60 to 70 dwelling units per year. And those dwelling units being produced typically in Fernie have been single family dwelling units. We haven't seen a whole lot of townhouse rental type units, although we are seeing some more now, which is good news. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. And we're looking forward to getting that secondary report that'll help to move us along. This report in front of you tonight is really a good foundation to build on and elaborate on to get more information.
Thank you, Mr. Similini. Questions from council? I prefer to think of it as condensed, not rudimentary, because I think you've done a good job in terms of an interim step leading into the OCP, and I think that makes perfect sense from my perspective. If you create a fulsome housing needs report now and then immediately launch into the OCP process that might turn it on its head in terms of what the community vision is, I think that makes very good sense. Do you need anything from us in terms of advancing this to meeting the requirement of the province in the interim?
I don't believe so, Your Worship. If and maybe this is a better question for the corporate officer, if council needs to make a resolution that they've received the report, or if it being on the agenda itself is being received, then it's in the public realm. So I think that the requirement is that council receive the report. So I believe that that's probably been completed tonight.
Okay.
No, I would not recommend a committee resolution, just as we have proof that Mr. Similini has presented.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Anything else from council? Thank you again, Mr. Similini.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I hate to jump out of here, but the roads are probably not looking great. So I'm going to
drive carefully.
back to Sparwood. Thank you so much.
Safe home.
Take care, everyone.
Item 7.4, special events, a report from the manager of Parks and Rec.
All right. This has been a long time coming. And thank you for sticking around. All right, we're going to talk. Oh, that's the wrong view.
Perfect.
Here we go. Okay. All right, so the purpose of this presentation is to inform council about the resources and support needed for special events, while also highlighting their significant role and importance in the community. The included spreadsheet within the report provides an overview of events in the city. Originally, this spreadsheet was created as a planning tool to track the upcoming events and their support needs. It has since evolved to offer insights into the events we support, helping evaluate services and their impact on our resources. Fernie is a dynamic and vibrant community with a rich calendar of events that greatly enhance the quality of life for both residents and visitors. Community events are important because they improve the overall quality of life in Fernie. They foster strong community engagement, support the local economy and tourism, strengthen social connections among residents, and raise awareness of our local culture and heritage. Community events also create jobs. They improve mental and physical well-being. They create a positive community identity. They provide educational opportunities. They strengthen local support networks by bringing organizations together and enhance public safety by fostering a stronger sense of shared responsibility and well-being. I'm sure that there are many more benefits that we can add to this list. But ultimately, events are key to the city achieving the city's objective of fostering a livable community. Compared to many, I've not been working for the city or living in Fernie for very long, but it is very clear how important events are to our community. In 2023, the Citizen Satisfaction Survey found that the community events were rated as the top factor that enhanced quality of life in Fernie. Fernie Tourism regularly publishes a list of events that showcase the vibrancy and engagement of our community. Despite being a small city, Fernie boasts a wide range of activities highlighting the significance of these events to our visitors as well as our residents. The city plays a crucial role in the success of many community events, with event coordination, delivery being a long-standing service of support that the city has provided. I just need to move something. There we go. The city contributes to essential infrastructure, coordinates logistics, provides funding assistance, and organizes numerous community events. The level of involvement in event delivery can vary greatly depending on the event scale, location, and the specific support required. In the report, I categorize the events based on the level of support the city provides. These categories include city coordinated, city supported, as well as external supported.
Starting with city coordinated events involve thorough planning and execution, requiring extensive support across multiple departments, facilities, and infrastructure. These events also involve securing funding through budgets, grants, and donations while managing all aspects of planning and logistics. Depending on the event size and requirements, the level of support needed is typically significant. Examples include Canada Day, Family Day, Truth and Reconciliation, Local Government Awareness Week, Aquatic Events, and Fernie on Fire. While city coordinated events require a high level of involvement and resources, there are also events where the city plays a supportive role rather than a leading and planning and execution role. Now let's take a look at the city supported events and how the city contributes to their success. City supported events differ from city coordinated events in that they do not involve extensive planning and execution. Although the city does not directly plan, develop, or deliver these events, it supports their success by providing venues, equipment, and funding. Depending on the event size and requirements, the level of support needed is typically medium to high. Examples of these events would be Grizz Days, Holiday Kickoff, Remembrance Day, Wapiti, Pride Week, and graduation. Moving on from city-supported events, let's look at the external supported events. External supported events are those that are independently organized, delivered, and funded. These events typically require a lower level of support from the city, but they may still need city resources such as venues and equipment. Examples of these events include the film festival, banquets, markets, weddings, sports tournaments. While events play a crucial role in enriching the community, organizing and supporting them is not without its challenges. Let's take a look at some of the key obstacles we face in delivering these events successfully. As Fernie continues to grow, so do the demands on our resources for event management and service delivery. With the increasing scale and complexity of events, it's become clear that the resources required to successfully deliver them are outpacing what is currently available. Recent conversations with the Community Partners Collaborative have highlighted that these challenges are not unique to the city, but are shared by many organizations in the community. Some of the key challenges include the significant staff time required, the need for additional funding, volunteer shortages, and the strain on infrastructure. These challenges have become more pronounced as events have grown in size and expectations. Yet the resources necessary to meet these demands have not kept up. Let's take a closer look at these challenges in a bit more detail. One of the primary challenges we face is the strain on staff resources. As event demands continue to grow, available staff resources have not kept pace, creating a critical challenge. Event coordination is currently handled alongside regular duties with no dedicated events coordinator, which impacts the quality of planning and event follow-up. Additionally, supporting events often pulls staff away from other essential tasks, such as maintaining parks and facilities. Another significant challenge we face is financial. As we continue to support and grow events, the financial hurdles we encounter are becoming more apparent. These include event costs have risen due to inflation, yet budgets have not kept pace. Over the years, many event expenses have been absorbed by operating budgets, which highlights the need for dedicated event funding. Stable and predictable funding is crucial for effective event planning and execution. Additionally, there has been a lack of comprehensive tracking of event costs, making it difficult to accurately assess expenses. Furthermore, reliance on grant funding and business donations, which can be unpredictable, hinders long-term event planning. For example, grants for events like Family Day, Go by Bike Week, and Canada Day fluctuate annually, and the intake and approval timelines vary, so it makes it very difficult to plan effectively. Another challenge we face is the decreasing availability of volunteers for events. Many events rely on volunteers, but volunteerism has declined due to factors like time constraints, economic pressures, changing demographics, and lack of awareness. Other issues, such as volunteer burnout, health and safety concerns, especially after the pandemic, and difficulties with recruitment and training have also contributed. Additionally, the lack of staff resources for volunteer training and preparation, along with the challenge of retaining volunteers who may not feel valued, makes it harder to maintain volunteers to support the events. While volunteer support is a vital aspect of event success, another challenge we face is related to infrastructure. Let's take a look at the infrastructure challenges that impact our ability to effectively deliver events. Over the years, the city has made significant investments in infrastructure to support and deliver events. Event infrastructure includes not only venues, but also essential equipment like tables, chairs, barricades, garbage bins, and crowd control fencing. Most recently, through collaboration with the community partners, we have requested additional equipment in the 2024 budget to accommodate the growing demands for events. The city is responsible for managing this infrastructure, including the maintenance and repair of equipment, event delivery and setup, as well as ensuring the safety, maintenance, and preparation of the event venues. However, we face several challenges, including climate change. With its extreme and unpredictable weather, we see more of now. This adds complexity, while the lack of covered and indoor venues further limits our ability to deliver events in all conditions. The provision of event infrastructure has a financial impact, and the city continues to improve its use of asset management principles. The financial implications will be better understood and communicated in future budget discussions with council. I've identified some of the major challenges we and other organizations face for successful event delivery, but the next step is crucial, turning these obstacles into opportunities for growth and improvement. To address the current challenges in event delivery and meet the growing demand for these services, it is essential for council to prioritize dedicated resources and the priorities. So in summary, events are important for enhancing quality of life for Fernie residents and improving the visitor experience, aligning with council's objectives of fostering a livable community and providing quality services. To effectively support the community event service area, different resources will be required depending on the direction from council. Council must consider allocating financial and staff resources with a focus on clear city event priorities to effectively manage and support events while sustaining future growth and meeting the evolving needs of the municipality. It is important for council to consider the following questions. What is council's vision for the city's role in events? Which events does council consider to be city events? And does council support allocating additional staff resources to be included in next year's budget? Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Hill. Questions from council? Well, I have one. So I think this report is a great backgrounder, but it offers very little in way of solutions or creative thinking. Personally, I don't mean to be unkind, but we are, for example, one of 13 resort municipalities in the province. What are other communities doing in terms of how are they collectively managing their events? We can't be the only one facing a growing event challenge. Have they gone through processes of right-sizing the events for their community? Have they partnered in different ways with community groups? Have they brought other parties in? Like, as I say, great background, but it requires a bit more research from my perspective before council can give you any clear answer. And do we have a plan? We've had great participation from our community partners this evening. They stayed to the end. Do we have a plan to engage them and other parties like Tourism Fernie in what does the future look like? Like a visioning exercise. I get we're struggling, but I can't give you the answer as to what the future looks like without some guidance as to what the future could look like. Councillor Audrey Kelly.
I have to fully concur with your worship. Not to be unkind, but council must consider allocating resources. Well, what does that look like? How much money is that? How many resources are needed? I don't see how council must consider that with no context. Apologies, but for me, I have to concur with you, your worship. I would need some more metrics.
Other observations from council? Councillor Nixon.
Yes. Thank you, your worship. Yeah, and road, sewer, water, and discretionary services, that's what cities do. And I love the events. I love all the events. I love the Wednesday night socials. I love Grizz Days, all that kind of stuff. But I just need to know how much money we're spending on it. And I like the idea of cost recovery for the events as well. You know, maybe there should be, you know, it should cost $5 for people to come in to an event. I don't know. I mean, does that take away from our livability? Does it help us, you know, add in? But I don't know. Is it possible that we could get an estimate on how much some of these events cost, right? And I like the division. I like the, you know, city coordinated, city supported and external. I like all that kind of stuff. I just need to have some more metrics, I guess. Some more numbers would be awesome associated with that. So.
Yeah, and you know, to reflect again, great backgrounder. But some indication of what the path forward could look like. Here's some options. Here's some potentially things other communities have done, that they right-sized their events for their budgets, calendars, community capacity, etc. What does that look like locally? Do we have a working group? I don't know. I appreciate, you know, as Councillor Nixon said, all the background, all the community supported, the ones that we do ourselves, et cetera, the categories, but I don't feel well informed enough to make any kind of recommendation as to what the future could look like here. Youth Councillor Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say, like, I think it's very important to have these events in our community. I think it's so like valued, and as like we are such a small community and we have so many tourists, I think it's very valuable to have these things. I do agree with Councillor Adia Kelly and Mr. Councillor Nixon. Sorry, he's my teacher. I always call him Mr. Nixon. And Mayor Milligan. Maybe we could look at what other communities do to budget and that kind of thing. Maybe we could look to like Sparwood or Cranbrook and compare some of their events that are similar to us. Like maybe they run an event like Grizz Days that we could compare finances to, just to get more clarity on that. But I don't know what council thinks, so that's my view on it.
No, I think that's very important input. I think, yeah, there's a, we don't need necessarily a made in Fernie solution. That might be where we go in terms of engaging our community partners and creating that vision, including folks like the Chamber and Tourism Fernie and others. Yeah, there are all sorts of communities out there who grappled with the same thing, I'm sure. And what have they done? And how have they, how do they continue to manage this? Because I absolutely agree. I think that point has been well made. These events are vitally important to our community, to the fabric of this community, the quality of life. I don't know how many sunburns I got at the Wednesday social, but it's really key that we do a bit more research and bring back to council some sort of vision or multiple potential visions of what this could look like in the future, I think, before we can make a decision. Councillor Adia Kelly.
Just to retouch on something your worship mentioned earlier, because I think we were given a very good example tonight from Ms. Ferguson, who was able to quantify things for us with the Wednesday socials. So clearly our partners, I'm going to not try to put Wendy on the spot, but Ms. McDougall, I would venture to guess that they have some metrics for Grizz Days. So consulting with our supported events might be a good place to start.
Is that helpful, Ms. Hill?
That is helpful to find out the council wants more information and to see what other communities do as well. And this, was to provide council with that background information of kind of where we're at and get direction as to where council would like us to go.
Yeah, I not, well, chiefly because we're just heading into budget. Adding resources is maybe not the first step we want to look at. We want to look at, you know, what other options are available to us so that we know what path we can venture down, where other communities have been successful, potentially. And, you know, I can certainly happy to send an email to the Resort Community Collaborative mayors and say, have you gone through a process of right-sizing community events? How do you manage them? And you know, aid you in the process of gathering that from communities we're already deeply engaged with. So,
Okay, thank you.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. With that, we will, so don't go anywhere. Well, you folks can't, sorry. We will adjourn the committee of the whole and immediately convene a special meeting of council to held at 9:38. Oh, Sophia, you got to go home. Oh, no, you're fine. You can excuse yourself. And once again, we acknowledge the city of Fernie is located within Kukitamakas, the unceded territory of Yakutat and Tla'amin First Nation. We recognize that we live and work within their vast lands. The Kanahunik are from Yakutat and Tla'amin and are members of Tanaha speaking peoples of British Columbia, Idaho, and Montana. And I will ask for a mover and a seconder for approval. I'll call it to order. I apologize. Ask for a mover and a seconder for approval of the special meeting agenda. Moved by Councillor Nixon. Seconder, Councillor Hamilton. Any discussion? All those in favor? And the single item on the agenda is I need a mover and a seconder for the following staff recommendation that council adopt the 2024 to 2028 5-year financial plan bylaw number 2510, amended bylaw number 2525, 2024. Moved by Councillor Hamilton, seconded by Councillor Nixon. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you, everybody. And we will adjourn the meeting forthwith. And thank you, everybody, for sticking with us this evening.